Are we live?
Folks, we are live with the Spicy Boys. Well, we only got one Spicy Boy. We got Nesty. He's apparently not Spicy Boys TV tonight.
I'm
he's
spicy,
leaving the hop.
Spicy boy. What's going on? Fuck's good.
Are we live?
Dude, we are live.
What's good, everybody?
What's goody, Jake Smith? What's good, Alex? Happy to be here with everybody. Talk about the hobby. Everybody strap, buckle up. We're going in. We're going to talk about whatever. Chat, ask us the questions. We're here for a good time. Okay.
Well, the first thing I want to ask, first thing we got to talk about. So let everyone know who you guys are. Like, when did you get in the hobby? What do you guys do? In the hobby, what's your kind of business or collection, whatever it may be, kind of based off of, and give everyone a sense of yourselves for anyone that does not know you. If you guys don't know, by the way, while you're doing that, I'm gonna make sure I never linked to your guys' channel. I'll do that in the description and pin it to the chat. But yeah, take it away. Whoever wants to start.
You got it, Smith.
Oh, I got it. All right. Yeah. Yeah. My name's Smith. I go by Jake Smith, Bulldogs. I've been in the hobby since 2021. Collected as a kid. Never played any games though, so I was pretty distant from Pokemon. But then I just came across one of my old binders that just had all Mitsuhiro Arita cards, and I was like, dang, this artist is crazy. So I just started diving through the rabbit hole and started collecting and flipping in 2022. Went full time all of 2023 due to certain circumstances, and then 2024 still flipping, collecting a little bit, and enjoying interacting with everybody on Spicy Boys TV with co-host Nesty.
What exactly led to the decision to kind of step back a little bit? Was it just kind of too all engrossing? Was it not as fun or fulfilling anymore? What do you think that was?
There's a lot of life circumstances. Like I moved to Miami with a girl, and it was just so expensive in Miami to be able to, because I was doing it in Portland, like no sales tax, no nothing. The market was way crazier back then, at least for like vintage Japanese, which is what I really went down the rabbit hole in and was making most of my money off of. And then that was slowly declining, plus, increasing from moving from Portland to Miami. So all that together ended up, getting a job to help support. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any regrets. I mean, if you really want to learn everything there is, try to do this for survival. That's it's a whole nother beast entirely. But
dude, that's the truth. That is number one, the truth. Like when your livelihood depends on it, you're gonna act a lot different. You're gonna behave a lot differently than if you're just kind of trying to flip to make a couple bucks or trying to like invest in some stuff or collect. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. But
yep.
All right. Nesty, all right, give your spiel, man.
Yeah, yawn. That was the most boring Genesis story I've ever heard. Look, bro, it's your boy Nesty, straight out of Cuba, about to get a Supra. Okay, I'm big chillin'. I was collecting Yugs as a youth, and then when the pandemic hit, I was like, I need a gerb. So I decided to sell my collection, which I regret dearly. But now we're up, chat. We're good. Not really. Still in debilitating debt. However, though, we do have some PC items. We have a YouTube channel, and we have a wonderful friend group in the hobby. So things are good. Things are good right now. Kinda.
So
it's cool.
Are you still kind of like just doing it on the side?
Bro, honestly, the thing is, it's tough, right? Because in the last 2-3 months, I've slowed down a lot, but I was going super hard before that. So like when, like, you know what I mean? To answer your question, kinda, but it's just been 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago. Like I just been just focused on my real job, and like, just like Jake Smith said, man, like the margins they're not appealing to me to do it all the time. Like there was something that the volume gave you that is kind of missing for me right now with my current bankroll and like with my time or whatever. I don't know. It's just not working how it was working before. How
are you gonna slow down when Pokemon just hit like its biggest stride since like 2021?
No, yeah, absolutely. I'm just telling you my like personal journey, that like the boom is relatively like new, right? Like when did that happen? Like a couple weeks ago? Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I guess bad timing to sell all my inventory for sure, but I'm not tripping on it. It actually felt good. Like
So
I
you're,
was
you're saying you sold all your inventory, not that you're like, you're not like, are you
Mhm.
like much less active, or did you just sell out of your inventory type thing?
I basically just sold everything, and then I'm still like looking for cards to flip, but I'm not like as I guess worried about creating a brand or like building my eBay, you know. Um I guess I was just kind of doing it to make a dollar, you know. And now it's like harder to do that. So I'd rather just collect and focus on other stuff, you know. Like I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the time is really worth. Like I don't know, bro. We used to spend 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day looking for cards, talking about cards, grading, binders, whatever, you know, doing everything from like raw to everything. But it's like also we've seen a lot of stuff already, Alex. So it's like it's not as new. Also, you know, it's like it feels like oh, this again. I already got 6 tenths of these. Like okay, another 10. You kind of lose the appeal a bit, and at least that's just my personal journey. Like I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to influence you guys. I know Jake runs a pretty decent business, so it's just where I'm at right now or whatever. But
No, I mean, I think what happened is it became a job. I mean, I think, it was more like a, hobby turned passion, like hobby passion turned into a business you could make money off of. And then you did it long enough to where it became a job. It's just like content, is great. It's fun in the beginning. Then when like you're depending on it for a living, it's now a job that you have to do each day. And I think anything can kind of turn into that at some point. I think that's what, I mean, from what I'm getting is what kind of what it sounds like. It just, it was a lot more fun in the beginning when everything was new. And now it's just kind of like making the same dollars and cents, doing the same thing you did yesterday. I get it.
Yeah,
for
also
sure.
when
But
you're
I mean,
doing another job, like Ernie teaches chess full time. So it's like he's got that going on. You have other life events come through, and sometimes, the boom doesn't connect with what your current life is handing you too.
mhm.
But we're getting back in there, dude. I'm teaching them the English ropes. We're buying Charis, Pikachus. We're getting in there, dude. We're back.
Now I know you guys, so you guys have never really been about the whole like long-term hold, invest, anything like that, right?
I
I mean,
yeah.
you got it.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, we got in and we met each other in like Pokenomics. Like, so like back when we were like brand new little babies, that's all we were hearing was like, from the flippers, you need to flip immediately, secure your bread, all that sort of thing. And like vintage and other rarer stuff is what you hold. And you're a crazy person if you're holding anything that has a high print run. So it's like going off of
Hold on, I
that.
gotta stop you right there because people that are newer to the hobby, like when I talk about like, that no one ever like believes me, I feel like. Is people, hear modern now and they think like, oh yeah, obviously. But like back then, it wasn't like that. Back then, it was a crazy idea to like consider holding a modern card or a modern box. It's kind of weird how it did change like that, right?
Well, it's like so many people got burned in XY when it's like I think it was Roaring Skies was just like the doing the same thing as Evolving Skies, and they did such a massive reprint that everyone was turned off by it, and people couldn't sell boxes for 60. And they're like, yeah, look at the past, and you have to go by that for the future, and not necessarily everything that's worked in the past is like Pokemon is such a unique market where the like rarity really doesn't matter at a certain point when you have so much demand for something. Like even though the Charizard from 151 has 8,000 plus tens, people don't care. Like it's the hit of the set, and that's the only explanation you really need in the market. Is like it's cool because it's the hit of the set. It doesn't matter if all of your friends have it or not. Like you still want the card,
Yeah,
especially
I
if
mean,
you like.
I know both of you guys are like obviously coming from Pokenomics and that, obviously like the population reports and like the older rare mint or better type mindset. But like, here's what I always like try to think of it as. If you think about Pokemon being worldwide and how a lot of the countries do collect English, a lot of them, collect Japanese too, but a lot of them do collect English. So the way I always look at it is, do I think there's at least 8,000 people across the entire world that are willing to pay at least $500 for this card and one of the most iconic sets of this era? And at that point, it almost makes sense. Like, do you think it makes sense at that point at all?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's just like people, I don't know. It's interesting because there's a lot of people here that keep their collection quiet and they're really just collecting what they like. So they're buying the Charizard and not telling anyone about it. And then there's a whole group that hears that it's the coolest card and they're buying it just solely for that reason. So those two groups are kind of working together to drive up the price, plus all the flippers and, you know, but it makes sense to me. Like if everyone is saying it's a cool card and you think it's a cool card, then why not get it? Like it
So how has your guys' I guess businesses, or how you approach the hobby changed, I guess, over the last 2-3 years? Like what are you doing now, or what have you like started to get away from that you were doing, and what kind of new things have you guys started doing? Have you kind of like, I guess, to play into the market that kind of what the way it is now?
I mean, for me, I've just been grading. I used to grade 100% Japanese. Like I wouldn't touch English, and it was a different market back then. Like there wasn't as big of margins in English as there is now. Like there wasn't as much. Like after the boom, like a lot of people stepped away, and all like investing and all that stuff wasn't being talked about. Everyone was just like, "Oh, how low can we go? Like everything is screwed. Like, is this the end of Pokemon?" Like that was what it was like in 2022 near the end. So it's like seeing the turnaround. But I'm grading probably like 80% plus English now, just because that's where the margins are. And
so when you say you're doing that, is that more because the margins are better, or is it more because like kind of the Japanese margins have fallen off and there's not as much opportunity, or is there just more opportunity in English? Could you still be doing just as good in Japanese, or is that fallen off a bit?
I mean, I think all three. There's obviously good margins with certain Japanese cards. Like there's always going to be good margins everywhere. But I don't know, like Ernie and I, we started getting along like early on because we were both playing the same game of like, what's the hardest cards that are, what are the cards that are the hardest to source out there? And let's see how many we can 10. Like it wasn't even really that much about flipping or the business. It was just like a game of like, oh, I can't believe this card's not even listed on eBay. I'm going to try to grade one. And it turned into a business because those had crazy margins. Sorry.
Well, here, give us some of the big ones you got graded. Where are some of the big plays?
Well, but it's like that was the hobby to us, guys. The hobby was, I don't want to say competing, but it was fun. It was fun to even learn together about new cards, and not just you and me, Smith, like Colson, like all the homies that we grew, Kai, like Charvy, like everyone that we came up with. We were just super curious, We just wanted to learn, and then when we found the card and we checked the pop, and it's like, yo, this is a pop too. It's like deploy the drones. Everyone's out there trying to get one, and it was really fun. It was a really fun time. Also, the margins were ridiculous. So if you risk, let's say $300 on a raw card and you 10 it, you're getting $1,200-$1,500. It's like, holy shit! Like we're gambling high, which was fun. I think, if I'm honest, part of the reason it's not as fun is because there is no gamble. PSA gives you straight 10s every sub, 100% 10s, and then also there's like 20% margin. So it's like, what's the payout? It's like if you win at slots every time, but you win 5%. It's like, okay, I guess this is cool.
Well,
like, I'm not hating on it, but
well, I mean, I don't know.
Like
here with Japanese, I agree. But I mean, dude, some of these English, especially illustration rares, they're down in like the 20-30% range for 10s.
Well, I only grade Japanese. So like everything I ever said is Japanese. Like I don't, I graded a little bit of English, but just stuff that I picked up at cons or like got in trades and stuff. Like I never, I mean, I did grade some stuff off of TCG and things like that, but very minimal, bro. Like less than 5% of my cards ever sold is probably English,
Yeah, it's like the double-edged sword. Like if for anyone newer to the hobby, everyone else knows this already, but I'm just going to say it for newer people. Japanese quality is a lot higher. Because of that, the PSA 10 prices are usually a lot lower, which has people say, well, Alex, these are, they ask other people, this must be way undervalued because the Japanese, Paldea Magikarp is so much cheaper than the English Paldea Magikarp or whatever the Japanese set's called. And it's like that because the chase isn't there. So what they're talking about is, when the 10 rate, the gem rate is like 70, 80, 90% on a PSA 10. there's no real value in having the 10 over a raw card, basically. Whereas if in English, it's like 20-30% of the cards get PSA 10s, then the chase is a lot more, so the value is a lot higher on the 10 than the raw, which when the 10s are a lot higher value, it drives up the price of the raw card, and it becomes this whole like ecosystem, and that's kind of why you'll see like English cards a lot higher and Japanese values a lot of the time. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Japanese grading is always easier because the quality is so good, but a lot of people like Japanese because of the quality. So it's like that catch-22 type thing.
But that changed too. That also changed. Like the quality changed also. Wouldn't you agree, Jake? So like I was getting straight like 151
and some other set. I can't remember the sets before 151, but Japanese 151 really stuck out to me because I was like, oh, we're going to cook at Beckett. I'm going to send 50. I basically picked out like 50 of my best cards out of like 500 I'd ordered from for when Japanese 151 dropped, and I got like a few pristine 10s, like no black labels or anything, and it's just like, oh, like I just got cooked on quality. So I remember that. But then also like the problem with like there's a lot of money to be made. Like if 151 was coming out, or like let's just say Surging Sparks, the biggest hit, the Pikachu, everyone wants it. You're going to be able to make a lot more money grading 10s at PSA with that card than the Japanese version. Because Japanese version, there's probably already, if I check right now, there's probably already some listed in Japanese graded already from Japan because PSA is there now. Plus the quality is, technically better than what's going to be coming out in Surging Spark. So it's like there's multiple things working because there is still margin there for being first to market, but the Japanese people are taking that now. Like the US can't compete unless you have a huge supplier and you're like ripping all the product yourself as soon as possible and sending in PSA. So there's just a lot working against you in modern Japanese. But the cards I think they look way better. Like I'm a big fan of the quality.
So I guess both of you guys, if you're still doing a lot of grading plays, would you say this changed at all, or how are you doing it now? Are you guys more going for like more volume, or are you trying to go after those higher dollar plays and those higher margin plays that like are much more scarce and rare? Trying to hit like just a few of those and make the same dollars as you would moving hundreds of cards? Are you still keeping it high volume? How would you say you're playing the market nowadays?
I think in general, like just buying cards that are a little bit more expensive raw, because the potential payout is better. Like if you buy a card for 125 and you can get 300, it's kind of more worth your time than buying a card that's 5 and making 25 or something. Like it's, unless you're doing volume, especially like I know you always talk about time, right? Alex, like some people just don't have time, right? Like if you have a full time, a family, a girl, a dog, a cat, so like there's only so many hours I can search, for cards. So like if my budget is a couple thousand, like I want to focus on the $200, I guess $250 range, buy 10 cards and be done, But as far as vintage goes, it's hit or miss. Like sometimes you just can't find vintage, and so like you inevitably have to either buy sealed or buy like something more modern and make, I don't know, make less margin. But honestly, it's random. Wouldn't you say it's a bit random? Like it's kind of what comes in through the door too, and sometimes you find plays, or you find people trying to sell their collections and things like that. So
yeah, I mean for me, I'm like I got a job recently, so I'm more and more just trying to figure out the flow of like me sourcing to the end buyer and making that as streamlined as possible, where I have to do the least amount of work. So I'm definitely going after raw cards that are $50 or more because of all these services like your sponsor Arizona, Z&G, their Fanatics. They all don't take that $5 away. They give you the best rates for $100 and up cards. So it's like, why would you try to do the volume play when everyone who has better fees than you online, they're going after, they make more money, you make more money if the card is worth more money. So it's like that's just where everyone's targeting. So that's mainly what I'm targeting right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, volume just sucks, especially if you're doing it yourself. Like, I don't know how people make a living off of sorting bulk or grading. I mean, I get the whatnot sellers sending thousands of cards to CGC, like low value. They're grading for $7 to $9 a card. You make your money. But like that's not me. Like you have to stream for hours and hours and hours and build up a community and all this stuff. Meanwhile, I can just send to Dan, Z, and G, and just
Let's talk. Let's talk a little about what we did before we got on, if you want to. About what was the service you were talking about? So we were talking about there's a service where you can literally just have the cards sent to CGC. CGC will like do all the works of grading and listing them. What were kind of go in a little more in depth on that, where you literally like don't even have to really touch the cards.
Yeah, so like they did this a while back with like SGC, where it's a service where you just send in the cards and they grade it all for you. And I think Z and G's done this before too, where you just tell them how many cards you send them. They input everything, they send it off to grading, and they sell it for you. And now GameStop is doing it. GameStop, you can just take your cards. You don't have to fill anything out. You just drop it off, and they cover shipping and everything for you. Like you just pay $16 a card. Like it's like if you're filling in submission forms these days, unless you're sending to Beckett or something, it just seems kind of crazy to me. So, I mean, currently right now, I'm sure there's other people doing it, but Fanatics and CGC partnered to, you basically just send your cards to Fanatics, they grade it with CGC, and they auction it. All like you send your cards, you don't have to do anything, and they just get sold.
What do either one of you like? Are either one of you worried about the ease of access we're having now, like to where it's not the kind of that gatekeeping keeps getting lower and lower, the threshold to actually enter into the grading, side of the hobby and all that? Do you guys see any of that becoming an issue as it continues to get easier with all these services?
I mean, it could be a problem. I mean, I guess you just have to analyze who would that hurt the most. And the demand could be there for modern, but I honestly think the ease of access hurts people trying to hold on to PSA 10 or graded single cards, because those are the easiest cards to access. Like that's just a fact. The most recently printed set has the most easily accessible cards because everyone's ripping it right now as much as they ever will, and everyone's grading that as much because that the margins are highest when the set first comes out, at least short term. But I mean, that it doesn't really scare me. It just like right now, I just like it because it's making my life so much easier. If you are grading, it's just so easy to be like, okay, yeah, here's
like
my
the
stack.
GameStop,
I don't have to put
right?
anything in. Take them.
Ease of access is the GameStop things, right? Like you're able to take the cards to GameStop. I mean, I think it's good for the hobby that people can grade and see how hard it is to grade. I mean, yeah, like I guess I'm a bit worried that people will randomly unearth a bunch of grails and send them, but realistically, they won't, and they're gonna have a bunch of 6s and 7s, and then they're gonna want the 10s that me and Jake have in the store. So like that's kind of, I think people like to want to get good at this, they kind of have to put in a bunch of repetitions, and I think most casuals just kind of check fold and like keep it pushing, especially when everything's so cheap, dude. Like, why would you have the drive to find a card when you can just buy it for like a little bit more than raw, Like everything is so normalized. I mean, again, in Japanese, but I know English is like going crazy, but yeah, maybe we can talk about English. I know like most of the people here, that's what you guys do, So
Hey, Fernando, appreciate you gifting those 5 memberships, guys. Make sure to thank Fernando if you picked up one of those. Yeah, we can talk about English, Japanese. It doesn't matter, man. I just wanted to kind of like just talk. I know on your guys' stream, if you guys don't know, I linked their channel to the top of the comment section. It should be pinned. You can just click there if you want to go subscribe. But it's just real conversations. It's none of the like, polished, like, really thought out, perfect answers that are all like politically correct, and they just talk. And that's why I wanted to have these guys on, is just to throw it all out there, man. Like have just the real convo with people that are doing it, that are in the hobby, that have been in the hobby for a good amount of time. And instead of, how it gets on YouTube, everyone's kind of like reserved, doesn't want to say the wrong thing, doesn't want to like to hurt anyone's feelings or push anyone's buttons. But like, that's the main reason I wanted to have you guys on, is just to chop it up. So yeah, whatever you guys want to chop it up about, I'm down.
I just feel like dudes are running for hobby precedent, and it's like, I obviously want people to like me. I think that's like a human thing, but it also doesn't affect me, right? Like if somebody doesn't like what I collect, for example, that's fine, right? I still like the cards. I'm still having fun with it. So, or like even our channel is pretty goofy, bro. We dressed in wizard costumes and shit. Like, obviously we're not trying to get a PSA sponsorship, even though it'd be great, but like we're just having fun, you know, and like it's a hobby. It's a hobby, you know. Like you shouldn't get made fun of or bullied for wanting to have fun and not being that serious in my hobby. You get what I'm saying? Not that we get bullied. I mean, we do most of the bullying, but like but yeah, I don't know. Like right now I'm enjoying collecting, bro. I'm enjoying collecting. I'm enjoying looking for the cards that I like, and uh it's fine. Like I feel like everybody thinks that things are what they are and they stay that way. It's okay to change. It's okay to leave the hobby, come back in a year. It's okay to sell part, like you said in your video, sell part of your investment to fund your new investment. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
see what's the big deal. I don't know.
I don't know. This kind of brought it to my head, but I feel like we're in like heaven right now. There was a joke going on our channel where like we're in hell. And that was a little while back, and y'all can rewatch the podcast if you want. But I feel like we're in heaven right now, where there's so much money to be made in sealed, raw, just everywhere in English. And for me, I'm just happy because I love Japanese cards. Like I like that that's the original country that made them. They're printed first. They're technically the original, what the cards were meant to be by the creators. So I'm just enjoying going through and finding super hard to find cards that, like, I picked up some recently where I've never even seen them for sale, and they're just like, they're just cheap. Like I don't know. Like I like finding cards that I've never seen before. So it's like a beautiful thing where everyone in modern is making tons of money on their English investments, everything like that. They're having fun. I'm having fun finding stuff that's rare and that I like in Japanese. It's just everyone's having fun right now. Unless
No,
you're
I agree.
grading
That's
Japanese modern, you're probably not having fun. But
Yeah.
No, I agree, man. Like I think I said it in a video. Like this is a time where it seems like anyone in the hobby could just come together because everyone's winning. Like if you're into vintage, you're winning. Modern, you're winning. Mid era, like there's a lot of those top hits are starting to have like big sales, like sealed singles, slabs. It just doesn't matter if you're grading, like you said, the first marketplace and some other things. It just seems like everyone is doing well no matter what they're doing, which is good. Where it's not like one side is doing better and the other isn't, and like you kind of at each other's throats on it. So it is nice to see everyone doing well, but like going back to how things were. So when you guys got in, you obviously you got in with the whole like flipping crowd and all that. Do you think it was more? And I don't know. I'm just asking. Was it more about being able to do more with your money, or was it more about a lot of people just didn't believe in like kind of the longevity of this stuff continuing to rise, and it was like thought it was going to fall? Do you think it was more to like get the money and churn and burning and like do more with it? Or is it kind of like a negative outlook you had, you think?
Well, I know we've definitely met people of like the entire spectrum. Like there's been people from the beginning where it's like, yeah, I'm collecting, like battle styles went down to 80. I'm buying 20 cases. There's there's people that are saying, oh, you're stupid for even thinking that is a play. Like they're both ends of the spectrum. I mean, me personally, I've constantly been changing my outlook and like what I think is right. And I think that's important for everyone. Like if you're full set, like all you do is collect sealed, and that could potentially be the best decision you've ever made. But also you should keep an open mind, because if you're just collecting Evolving Skies boxes, you're also not taking into the fact that tons of people like Moonbryon or the Rayquaza VMAX. Like there's tons, like if you close yourself off, you're losing money that you could be putting towards your main goal of, getting even more Evolving Skies or whatever the sealed set you're the most bullish on is. So it's like, if you
I think Moonbrion's hitting like 1,500
money
again too.
Exactly. And like everyone who's sitting on Evolving Skies boxes, that have been they've been going in between 600 and 800 for the longest time now. Well, the Moonbryon has been going between 1,100 and 1,600. So that's an even wider gap. It's less money to ship. It potentially even sells faster. I don't know. I mean, they're probably both incredibly liquid. So it's just don't close. That's my main learning in the whole entire thing is don't just always keep your mind open to everything, because the person you think is the stupidest in the hobby could be the smartest person, and you're the stupid one. So it's just stay on your toes, you know?
I mean, for me though, it's like it's difficult because when you're working with a like short bankroll and also you're new to the space, it makes sense to just like double and keep it moving. You know, like it's not like I have $10 million and I'm playing with 100K, where you know it's not that. So, like if you could double your bankroll, Alex, right? Even if you believe in something, you should probably double your bankroll, right? And so like a lot of it, like there was cards, bro, that I believed in that I had to sell, right? Like just to keep the business moving, or also because those were the biggest dubs of the year. Like I can't PC the biggest dub of the year, right? Even though it's a Charizard, a Gengar, or a Black Label or whatever, right? So I think like at least for me, I didn't have the luxury of holding, you know, and yeah, of course, I missed a lot of opportunity. I mean, we could have bought Evolving Sky, we could have bought a bunch of sealed promos, the XY16 Charizard, the Felt Hat Pikachu, like all these things that you should just buy cases of at release. It's also like you're playing the waiting game with money that you can't really afford to tie up. So I personally think I've always been bullish on like big cards and popular cards, but I'm generally bearish on Pokemon. I don't know. I think there's just a lot of shit that's just dust, bro, and like it shouldn't even be worth that degrading, you know. But again, it's all opinion. Like you know, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we're not in charge of the market. The market's gonna do its thing. Like you can be upset and angry that, like, I could be pissed off that cards I could hardly ever find that are popping up now are as cheap as they are in Japanese, because it's like, oh, I'm, buying this for PC, but also when would I ever be able to liquidate this if I really need to? Like the market
Right.
doesn't care about it right now. So it's
Right.
like that's also gamble. Like when you're piecing stuff that you think may eventually be really popular because it's impossible to find, you're
Hmm.
just sitting there
And you lost,
enjoying it.
dude. We both lost money doing that too.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
so it also like you get burned because you're like, oh, I believe in this. I was wrong. I lost 200. I sold it. It went down another 200. Like so again, like I think it just goes back to like that mask or whatever. Like you don't always win. Like especially when you're moving a lot of cards, like shit goes wrong and like sometimes you lose. Sometimes you buy wrong, you know? Bro, one time
I,
I bought 100 Articunos. I still have 98 of them. Like
I honestly, I think one of the most dangerous phrases and one of the things I hated the most that people used to say a lot more than they do now is, and it makes sense if you have like a channel based around collecting, like you're just collecting, you're spending money, you have you never want the money back, right? It's like going out to dinner, right? Going to like freaking,
oh,
Outback
if it goes to
Steakhouse and buying
zero,
a
I don't
steak.
care. If it goes to zero, I don't care. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
thing you don't
those
like.
people. That's fine. But the phrase I hated the most was
Mm,
buy what you like, invest
mm.
in what you like. And it's the worst thing because if you like things that the majority of the market don't like and are never gonna like, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna have illiquid cards. You're not gonna be able to get rid of them. You're gonna have to take under market just to sell it because you can't auction it. A lot of that kind of stuff sells like in person a lot better than it does on like an actual public platform. And it's like I think that is the mistake all of us make in the hobby a lot is we look at things through our own lens, whether we're looking to invest in it, collect it, make a play on it. Where I think we need to look at like the market a lot more. And me, I mean, same with me. Like especially when Japanese was mooning, and I've never been a Japanese guy, and it's just instead of getting ahead of it and making the play, when I saw all that swelling up, I just came up with reasons not to. Right, and same thing with like making plays or sealed or whatever it may be. So yeah, I just think that buying what you like can really get you in trouble if you're looking to actually make money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro,
no,
like
I agree.
my favorite Pokemon is Mag Cargo and Hypno. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I
no, of
went
course.
full send into that saying, "Oh, people are gonna love this one day," I'd be cooked. Like I wouldn't be able to keep up. So, um,
Yeah.
but I think I'm starting to learn that myself. It's just like all I've ever seen is Pokemon Center ETBs go up. I've never bought one, and it's like Surging Sparks is the first ones I'm buying just because it's got Pikachu on it. That's the cream of the crop. ETB. I mean, everyone in chat knows that. I mean, I'm sure most people here are down to make that play. So,
Now,
it
what are
could
you
just
doing with it?
be.
Are you keeping it sealed? Or are you going to make the play on the Magneton? Try to grade it.
I'll probably try to buy the Magneton raw. I'm just keeping this one sealed. I don't know. I can't justify opening it because then I have a problem with I guess gambling with cards. Like it's really hard for me to keep stuff sealed. So especially because I always make like because I don't enjoy holding stuff sealed because I don't get to enjoy it really other than like hoping the investment pays off. So I have to always just like put it as far away from my eyesight as possible because I will on a, maybe I'll be depressed one day and I'll be like, I bet those magnetons in there are black labels. The next thing you know, I've opened them up for the magnetons. I'm like, I'm going to sell the packs and get my money back. And then all the packs are open on my desk and I pulled like $5 in cards. So it's like, I have to treat it. It's like people who are obsessed with chocolate. They have to keep it in a drawer that's hard to reach sort of deal.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that's part of it for me too, bro. Like I just had this 151 box that I got using a bunch of Fanatics coupons. I just randomly had a code in my email, right? So I got the 151 box for 20 bucks, 21 bucks. And I was like, oh, dude, such a good entry price. Like I'm never selling. Like it's for sure nothing in there, like perfect shrink wrap, But then it's like, I'm bored, to rip it. Or I have a sub going out. What if there's a sard in there? Let me just rip it. Like, it's so dumb. But like, I cannot keep, bro, even with Yu-Gi-Oh packs, I'm like, like, I just can't, dude. I don't know. So I guess know your vice. I don't know.
Yeah, I have that problem too. Like if I have a sub coming out, every box in my vicinity is in danger. I'm like, I need 5 more cards. I'm sure the Zard's in here.
Exactly. Yeah, I got cooked. I pulled a Persian Master Ball, bro. I got super cooked. Yeah.
So I mean, going back, so like as you guys said, you kind of came in the hobby. You're obviously like trying to make it full time or make it a part time business, like flipping. A lot of the people in those groups, like with you guys, we talked about it a little beforehand. I wanted to kind of touch on camera, like we talked about, but like, what do you think kind of the sentiment has been lately? Does it seem like it's getting harder and harder to make that, kind of work? Or are there more people like kind of dropping off? More people kind of going back to like part-time type thing or like taking other avenues? Like, what would you guys say kind of the sentiment is in that like kind of grading market?
I mean, I think people took a step back, but they're still flipping though. Like I know Colson like is back in school or whatever, but he's still flipping. It just might not be doing it as as hard as before, but or like Retro, like I'm pretty sure Retro's still flipping. I mean, maybe he quit, but I don't think so. I mean, our original homies, like even Charvy, dude, Charvy still has a card business, right, in New Zealand. So it's nobody's fully out, Alex, but it's also like it's not like it used to be hype wise, It's like just life. Like things just get old, especially when you're doing it like so intensely, so many hours, so many years. So watching all the content, trying to catch up on 20 years of not being here. And so I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Alex, you've been here longer than everyone and you're able to maintain, excitement for it, but also I mean, I've been flipping like hardcore for 2 years. And like at a certain point, it's really hard to turn on another Pokemon podcast or it's hard to get excited sometimes. Like maybe you're excited 9 months of the year, but it's you're in Portland and it's raining outside for a month. You're like, oh, I hate flipping. I hate cards. I hate like it's hard to keep it steady. I guess the more cards you have come through, the more cards you grade, the more boxes you pick up. It's kind of like a never ending thing. And I feel like a lot of people I know personally are still very much into Pokemon and making money and investing and all of these like fully involved in Pokemon, but they're not in the public eye. They've stepped back a bit, probably for mental health, because it's not good to obsess over things for too long. But like,
yeah, I mean, I've been in the hobby a long time, but not to like those degrees, right? Like it wasn't until like after the pandemic when I really got like super serious and I made a YouTube channel. But like before then, it was just the reason I never got burnt out is I never was deep enough to get burnt out, if that makes sense. Like, like a friend of mine that, we did a lot together. It's like we made plays, we bought collections and, we got into grading a little bit. And we were putting, product away and investing in it. But it wasn't the thing where it's like every day I would log on eBay and search eBay for listings, or every day I'd have like something to do. It'd be like, oh yeah, we get really into it for a few weeks, and then, you know, kind of just check on things here and there, and then maybe buy something and break it down and have a collection kind of sell off over a month or two. Like, it was just really like truly a side like hobby, and less of any type of like trying to make an actual like amount of money, or trying to actually hit like sales targets, trying to compete with anybody. Like, wasn't like super deep in the online stuff. Like, I would check, you know, some of the online forums, like I would have combos, but it wasn't something that it was like all engrossing all day, every day. So I think that was probably kind of the key to what's my longevity so far, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've had a lot of experience, but not that stress of, oh no, like I heard there's a reprint, I got to move this case, those boxes, this. It's like when you're way more passive, I feel like it's also easier to steadily enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
mean, like, here, put things in perspective. Like, the first grading order I think I ever made was like 2017. And between then through like 2020, I probably had like 12 orders over like 4 year So like, you know, I probably graded like all together, maybe like a few, I don't know, 500 cards, maybe. Like, it wasn't like a main staple of like what I did in my day-to-day life, right? It was just like something I put my side money into when I felt like I could make money. I collected and then put product away when I started to like think it was investable. But yeah, it just never became like a main source of like time consumption in my life, and like a huge like brain kind of like it didn't take a lot of my brain power, a lot of my like time. So I think that's probably the biggest reason. But now that I'm like obviously full time, yeah, I think if I was been doing this for like all 9 years, I probably would be pretty burnt by now. Because there are times when I get burnt, but that's why I'm just kind of learning as I go. And I think, like Nessie said, like the best thing is we can just learn as we go. And it's just like I learned really early, like you guys said, I'm not a volume guy, and I figured that out really quick. You know, when I was getting in, I probably talked to a lot of the same people that you guys talk with, and I was trying to learn the ropes and learn how people are making a living. And, you know, just that volume thing seemed to be like the constant that everyone was doing. And so I was, you know, sending in, you know, 50, 100 and something card orders every single month, and just constantly having the PSA slabs rolling in, constantly buying collections.
Bubble mailers, everything.
Yeah. And it just got to the point where I'm just like, this ain't for me. I need to find other areas of revenue. I'm going to keep enjoying this enough to where it doesn't become a job that I dislike, like the other ones I have had.
Yeah, I've been there.
But okay, like not to like drift too far or whatever, but like I play chess, you know, that's my other job. That's one of the things I do. And I noticed that people are in the chess hobby for different reasons, just like in this hobby. Like, some people want to be the best, Alex. Like, they just want to be the best, right? But other people, they just like the community aspect, or they like the pieces, or they collect pieces or chess sets, or they're still in the community, but they're in for two completely different reasons, you know? So like when you talk to somebody that wants to create an empire to rival eBay as a selling platform, that's different than when you talk to a dude that wants to complete like an alt-art collection. That's two different individuals. But then it's like, why is somebody always trying to tell somebody else what's right, when it's like, this is just a hobby? Like, you get me? Like, for example, you hold sealed, I don't, because like I said, I will rip it, right? But I'm like down to hear your, like, I don't know. I guess I just always give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to what they love, because I can't tell anybody what to love. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, that's what you love. Awesome, dude. Like, let's nerd out about it, you know? But I definitely feel like in the flipper side, there's kind of a lot more, I don't even know what the word is, but it's like, it's more math and spreadsheets. And so like, there's a way to always tell somebody they're doing something wrong, because you could always do it better, and you can always like optimize. And I think they kind of lose sight a little bit of like what people love could be different, you know? I don't know if I explained that well, but like, yeah, that
100%, dude. It's like that in every aspect of this hobby. It's like the competition takes over like any other, like the enjoyment, like what you're actually making. Or because I came from sales, and me and a friend of mine always talk about that. It's like people get so engrossed in the competition trying to reach number one each month that they forget the entire reason they're there is they need a job to support their family. And it's just like, people get so wrapped up in trying to like get number one. And it's just like, dude, you're working like 65 hours a week. You're just doing everything you possibly can to reach that bar. And it's just like, you're making a few $1,000s over what the guy made in second and third. And it's just like, it's the money's already there. Why like destroy yourself? And I think it's the same way in this hobby. People are always like stressing to make a penny more than the other guy did. And it's just like, dude, remember what this is about? It's something you love. If you're trying to do it on the side, remember it's about making a little extra money on something you love. If you're full time, hey, remember it's about replacing that other job you didn't like. Like, it's not about beating some guy that's been here for 10 years, has all kinds of money, all kinds of, inventory built up and all kinds of connections that you're not going to have. It's just like people, they'll rot their brains trying to make it.
Yeah, it's like flippers, and like they'll rot their own brains trying to compete with each other. But I also think that's hilarious because like life in general isn't fair, and the Pokemon hobby is not fair at all. If everyone had 100K to play with, then we could maybe see what level of fairness, like how much better is this guy doing the other guy. But there's guys coming in here with millions of dollars, and there's some people coming in with $50 like a month. So it's like, who is going to do better? It's the guy who's going to be able to put $1 million in Surging Sparks, $1 million into grading, and $1 million. Like, he's obviously going to be doing better. So it's funny, and I don't think it's fair for. I mean, I don't really think it's fair for anyone in this hobby to think that the information or what they're telling someone else to do will apply perfectly to that person's life, because everyone's advice is different. Like what we need are, channels like yours where it's like, I'm not telling you you're dumb for collecting vintage Japanese, but here are these ETB prices. Here's what the market's doing. This is what the market is saying. I'm telling you that. Where it's like, I feel like people take your videos out of context, being like, oh, this guy is calling me dumb because I didn't, buy Evolving Skies. It's like, no, you're telling me what happened. Like that's literally it. But people are just upset at themselves that they didn't do it, that they think you're attacking them. And it's like, it's not just you. That's happening everywhere. Like anyone who has an ego problem and is being told by someone else who's doing better than them what they should have done or whatever, it's just not going to come off well.
Yeah, I mean, part of it's, just this like YouTube as well. It's just like, you could fall into that like disclaimer rabbit hole where you're just like, hey, I'm not trying to say anything you're doing is wrong. I'm just saying this is here, but you could also do this. And hey, I'm not saying you should put, and it's like, you can just fall into that where, eventually you just have to kind of throw your thoughts out there, and people are always going to take you the wrong way, especially online when there's no other way to have like actual face-to-face discourse. You're going back and forth in comment sections where no one knows like the tone of your messages. You could be making almost like a sarcastic joke and they could get serious and hate you and ban you. It's like, it's just a hard world to live in, especially when you live in like a place where it is competitive and people do have egos and there's competition. So
but wait
I get it both ways. I try the best I can to like not be as bad as I used to with it. Cause when I was new, I was just trying to make a name for myself. It was a lot of things I was saying were pretty controversial, and I was catching a lot of heat in the beginning. And so I was just kind of playing into it. But these days I try, I guess, to be as reasonable as possible with what I'm saying. I try to provide some disclaimers, but like at the end of the day, people are always going to take what you say the way they want to take it.
Yep.
Okay, so what are some of the craziest plays you guys made? You guys talked about it. What are some of those big grail hits that you guys hit when you guys were going for those real low pop, real scarce cards? You want to shout any of those out?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I was never really hitting like, crazy numbers, but like, I guess just the margins for what I was putting in were crazy. And it's kind of been like a joke on the channel, or like a joke within our friend group, like F5, like the refresh key. That was literally my business in 2023. I was basically probably doing it the wrong way, but the more you do, the more listings you see and the more comps you look at, the better you're going to like feel out the market. So basically I was just doing that nonstop and just finding, licks popping up. So it's like certain things like Dragon Frontiers Milotic, super niche in Japanese. It's like the fire Milotic. I think I bought a raw for like $15 and I sold it a 10 of it for 700. And just like, level X's, full art, black and white, tons of stuff that I guess people hadn't really realized you could make money on. There was definitely people doing it the whole time, but just not as much as now. Cause they're set cards. They've caught up. People have like people's entire businesses are to hurt the value of your card. Like people think like holding Moonbryon is like a safe thing, but you have to, and it probably is, like, honestly, because the demand is so crazy. But there's people every single day that have full-time businesses that are trying to destroy the price of that card. They're trying to buy as many of it raw as possible, grade as many as possible, and sell it as quickly as possible. So when you have that working against you, it's hard to justify investing. But yeah, just like selling level X's for 500 plus, black and white full arts for 500 plus, when you're getting them raw for $30 to $100. Just like that kind of a little mid range of just like crazy margins, when you're just really, really, really grinding. But those types of margins
and
aren't
honestly,
there anymore.
I feel like it's less about the margin too. It's more about the dollar. I talk about that a lot. Like people get like too like married to these margins. They just want to like have these margins to tell people like I made 1,000 margin. It's like, oh, you bought a card for $1 and sold it for 100. Awesome. It's just like, it's not the same as buying a card for, 50 and selling it for 500 because the dollars are a whole lot more,
Right.
but, people will buy a card for 10 and then grade it and sell it for 80 and feel like they, I made 800, X or 8X. It's like, yeah, you did, but it's still like $70,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the previous point since Jake Smith took 30 minutes to say that boring answer. My just real quick on the previous point. When I look at my channel analytics, it's like 94, 95% 30-year-old men. But yet this is like one of the most sensitive hobbies ever. Like you can't say anything to anyone. But then if you're at the basketball court, literally we all would call each other names and like literally not respect each other at all on some like friendship homie shit. But then it's like you get behind the keyboard and it's like, oh, how dare he say that about my investment? It's like, bro, can everybody just get over yourself? Like, it's Pokemon cards. Who cares?
I think what it is, I used to think that too. I think I know what it is. It's what you said. We're friends on the court. I think it's because you're not like friends. Like I feel like if it was people that all hung out all the time, you'd be able to like give each other more shit. But I think because it's like random people, I guess people get more offended. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why when you go to the collecticons, it connects you to people because you're like, oh, I can make fun of PK. He's like a regular person, or Jake Smith. Like we're getting drunk. Like it's not like he's just this online figure. Like he's just like me, man. Like I'm sure Alex, if we all chilled, bro, we'd chill, bro. We had a good time. But it's like it's what you said before too. It's the being a YouTuber and having a voice and feeling like you represent these people or whoever. Or it's so dusted, bro. At the end of the day, like I think what we're supposed to do is share information with our viewers, put them on to shit, and then just try to make friends, like I guess that's my main reason for being here. And then I just found out I could make money and I was like, okay, let's do that. But my main like purpose was collection and like finding, friends and meeting people and shit like that. So, and then on the second point, like I don't want to flex my biggest wins on this like pod, but also your biggest wins represent your biggest risk. So like whatever number I tell you I sold the card for, I probably bought it for way too risky of a number. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not going to say, oh, I got a $4,000 sale. It's like, okay, but maybe I paid $1,500. So it's like, it was still risky and stupid probably, but it just tends. Like I remember one time I tend this poncho pretty early on and I paid like $300 for it. And I think I got like 1,800. It was like a big dub at the time. And I remember we all laughed because it had white dots, bro. It was like a 7. And it just randomly 10. And so now I'm a genius. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it was not supposed to happen. So you kind of get desensitized to the number. And then you're also losing in other spots. So like for me, I just had a big sale, but it's just like all just like a blur, it's just like a bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was kind of like one of my big plays is like same exact way that Silver Lugia or Silver Dialga from Phantom Forces. Like I bought it on eBay for $200 and I'm like, if this gets a 9, I'm making some money. If it gets an 8, I'm breaking even, but I think it's a 9. And it came back at 10 and I'm just like, home run. All right. But like and honestly, the funny thing about that, I'm going to give it a little more to it. Okay. Sold it to someone on Instagram, not going to say who. And they wanted more pictures, so I gave them like 10 pictures. Okay, it looks good. Sale goes through. They get the card. This shouldn't have got a 10. This didn't show up in the picture. I don't want that. You got to take it back. And I'm just like, I'm not taking this back. I sent you all the pictures. You said it was good. We're good. So then they threatened me with a PayPal dispute. And I'm just like, if you're going to take it that far, man, all right, send it back. I ended up taking it back. Ended up selling it for the same price as someone else. But it's just like, yeah, there's, you're having to constantly worry about that stuff too, about getting scammed. Like we talked about that before. It's just, it's just another kind of added stress, added worry to this whole business. I mean, and taking the scams into it, I think one of the biggest changes now compared to, I guess, like 3-4 years ago is the allure of these other websites. So like it's always been like FeeBay, all that. Like everyone's always been, kind of like they're always like in their feels about all the fees or whatever. But now more than ever, people are just wanting to like get away from fees and always run from fees. And eBay and TCG Player, these sites, they do a lot to protect you. They take care of a lot. They keep your numbers for you. Don't talk about like your tax documents and all that. And I still like to use them a lot. Like, what is your guys' take on the whole like eBay TCG Player, or like going through like an auction site like a Fanatics or a Golden or a Heritage, over doing the whole Facebook, Instagram, those type of transactions?
Yeah, I'm still here with you guys. I just got to step out for one second.
No, go ahead.
But
what do you think? What do you think, Jake?
So, sorry, what was the question? Like with
just like other
TCG
just like
Player.
the fear of like, scams or going through like scams and, or just keeping things on like an eBay or like a major auction house instead of going on like a Facebook, Instagram, those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a scam, but I remember when it was probably my third or fourth card sold ever, and it was before the eBay international shipping, with like a guarantee of like over $250 of value. It's basically all on eBay if it gets lost or there's a scam or something. I remember like a month before that came in, I sold a card to Norway and, printed out the difficult label and did all this extra work, sent it off, and the last place it was seen was Oslo. And I still have never seen that card again. So I just took the L and I was like, wow, maybe flipping isn't for me if this is a thing. But yeah, there's that. Like, so eBay has seen that. That probably happened so many times, so many complaints that they finally put in something. So it's like all of these companies are getting better at protecting the seller and buyer, which is good. And that's probably due to all of them competing. Like if it was just eBay, they could just not care. They could just be like, oh, we're the only place that you can sell on. Well, screw you. Like, where else are you going to go? But like it helps that there's Fanatics and Mercari and all these other companies, to where it's like eBay actually has to fight for their sellers now.
I agree. I think it's good for us to have a lot of competition. Like, dude, even yesterday I was on Whatnot. It was boring. I went on Fanatics. It was boring too, but at least I had the choice.
Yeah. Yep.
But so do you guys still work majority of all your deals on like some of the major platforms off instead of like private sales, or what?
Bro, for me, I'm mostly doing private sales. Like, that sounds so bougie. Private sales.
Yeah, to
like,
my
I'm mostly
clients.
yeah, it's like, no, I mostly sell on IG, Facebook, like locally. I mean, dude, building a network, even if it's small, is probably the most beneficial piece of advice I could give anyone who wants to get into this. Like, just build a network, even if it's like this community or Alex's Discord, or join, I mean, LOL, that's a plug, but like join our Discord. You know what I'm saying? Like, join these communities, because, like, for example, I randomly found people in Miami that now consistently buy from me, and they know, and I know what they want. You get what I'm saying? So it's just really plus EV to get to know your card shops and just have a network. I think that's my biggest like piece of advice for anyone who wants to get into this. Is just find the right mentors and find the right people, and then that'll catapult you.
Yeah, and even going off of that, like you can prevent people scamming you by like being like, hey Alex, is this box real? Like you have to go, like when you're new, and like I messed up plenty of times when I could have just asked someone who knew, just like basically just running into a wall over and over again trying to learn. But it's like you should, like, just because your Moonbryon went up and that was the first thing that happened to you, let's say you got in, you bought Moonbryon at 300, it went up, don't think that you're a genius. Like, please don't, because that's just going to hurt you. Like, ask Alex, ask Ernie, ask people that have been here for a while if you have a question. If they don't know, maybe they know someone who for sure knows. And it's like, if you think it's a scam listing, you should ask people. Don't go and spend your money, especially if it's on Facebook. Facebook Marketplace is a terrifying place for the amount of scams. But yeah, just ask.
Yeah, wait. I want to say this. I think I think we got this from Charlie or Squeaks or somebody. But basically, it's like if you're not losing, you're not taking enough risk. Also, but there's a balance because I've definitely made impulsive purchases that later like even I double check it and I'm like, bro, that's a fake card. Like what am I doing? Like one time I bought this Umbreon from Skyridge and like it was like 4 a.m, bro. I was super dusted, and I checked it in the morning, and I'm like, bro, this card is 100% fake. Like this is a fake card, and I paid 180 for. Like I was so impulsive and dusted. When relax, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, and like just chill. Like yeah, a purchase should never stress you. It should always be like controlled. Um, I don't know, but I do kind of
You,
like that heart beating feeling though. It's fun. I don't know. I'm a DJ.
on the other side of that too, let's talk about the other side of that too, which I fall and prey to a million times, is you convincing yourself something's too good to be true, right? Like you'll go to the fresh listings and it'll be there. You're like, you look at it, you're like, wait a second, this is mint. Like, what's going on? Why is it so cheap? Why is this person? And then like you think about it, you like go recheck all the comps. You're like, wait, what does this actually sell for? A 9 and a 10? Wow, it is right. You go back and it's gone. You're like, why didn't I just snap by that?
Yeah,
you know, how many times does that happen?
Yeah, you just go through and you check your cart and you're like, oh yeah, of course it's gone. Oh yeah, of course that's gone. Why did I even check? That's gone. So it's like, yeah, the more experience you have, you should definitely start trusting yourself a little bit, especially if there's way more green flags than red flags. But yeah, we've done that all the time where it's like we send each other links and you're like, how have you not bought this yet? You're crazy. And then like one of us who is the person that sent it over goes and checks the link and it's actually sold. It's like, yeah, of course it's sold. I mean, it was a snap. What are we doing?
Another funny thing too is like when, you know, you're selling something and like a friend of yours that like does similar stuff to you, it wants to buy it. And there's like, hey, how much are you taking for this? Like, you're like, wait, why do you want it? And then it makes you rethink everything. Why should I sell this? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, wait, you want to buy a Darkness Ablaze case for me? What's going on? What did I miss? Am I missing a market move? Yeah.
Let's see. All right, Derek. I said, yeah, the Surging Sparks ETB, man. Like, hey, anyone? I left a message in the chat. If anyone wants to take any questions, you got questions for any of us, leave them. But yeah, the Surging Sparks ETB. It's I mean, I think it's still is it still available? If it is, yeah, it's a great play. Pick it up. Keep one sealed if you want to try to make the Magneton play. Think it's a great play. That artist has like a cult following. You know, it's the same Garatina and Magikarp from Paldea artist. Just kind of, I think it's going to do extremely well. Like that Noctowl did extremely well. If that did well, I can't see this thing not pumping.
So like I was like, because I've never done the PC ETB play. I'm not a big fan of ETBs just as a product. But I'm opening my mind more as we, move along the Pokemon roller coaster. And I was like, if there was something that was going to go wrong, it would be the one that I'm buying first. Like the first PC ETB I'm buying it's going to be the most stagnant, most printed or whatever. But I choked all that back and did buy a case. Probably going to be buying more. And the thing is, it's like, it's so popular that you need to not overthink it. Like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like someone said it was sold out. Now they're back up again. Guess what's going to happen eventually? They're going to be sold out again. Like there's just not enough of a limited release in Pokemon English right now that you can get hurt on, basically. Like same thing with like the Evolution premium collection boxes. I know people that have just been stacking those forever because it's like it's hard to manufacture those boxes. A lot goes into it. It's kind of hard to reprint. Like you can reprint packs all day, but putting together the entire step by step and like they have to probably just work on one product a day. It's like my brother works at a bottling factory in Portland, and basically what they do is they get contracts for certain products and that's all they run. Like these huge mass production manufacturing facilities, the way you make the most money is you focus on one thing at a time and spit out tons of it. So it's really hard to see like, oh, these evolution boxes, they're going to be in big demand, so we're going to print tons of it. It's hard to go back 3 months later, pull out the schematics of the box, get all the right things in place to be able to redo it. And I'm sure it's the same thing with Pokemon Center ETBs. Like eventually the next set's going to come out and it's not worth it to print, the next or print or restock Surging Sparks. So it just self-fulfills itself when it comes to sealed, especially if it's popular sealed with a Pikachu on the box. Like, what are we doing?
No, for sure. I mean, this question we can actually kind of bring into a discussion. I'll answer it first, but is it worth it for Eli subscription? So, guys, if you guys don't know, Pokemart USA has a subscription service where you can pay monthly to buy distributor pricing. I'm going to say no, because there's no even guarantee right now you're going to get 20 cases, right? It's very hard to get that. And that's kind of why I wanted to like bring that question up. Is we're entering a market now where everybody wants some and there's not enough to go around. And, it's going to go back to the days, if anyone wasn't here like 3-4 years ago, stores would basically just like put in like fictitious, like random numbers of what they wanted with the anticipation of they would never get all of their order filled. But the bigger number they threw out, they felt like the larger they would get. And so it's going to go back to the time where it's just going to kind of be each store gets what they get, and they're going to have to distribute that the way they see best, whatever they do. If it's Eli's program, it's going to be however many people are in there, what they asked for. You're going to get a percentage of what you asked for. The store is going to get a percentage of what they asked for from the distributor. And so if it were a thing where like you could guarantee yourself that many cases, great, but it's not that way right now. So it's probably not the best option. But I do want to kind of like bring that for like everyone to talk about, like see what you guys' thoughts are. Are you guys changing up like going into this bull market? Like, are you switching up anything you're doing based on like, the risk of buying in like the singles while they're already pumped up to their highs? Like, especially like Surging Spark, if you're going to make plays on these new sets, obviously these singles are probably going to be like pumped up more than regular set singles at release, or anything that's like moving up right now that you're kind of like buying into the play. Are there any like, I guess any like things that you do to reduce your risk, or any plays you won't make because it's on such a run right now?
I don't know, man. I'm pretty scared of Modern right now, even though everybody thinks I'm crazy. But I just think it's like just my comfortability.
Sorry, are you more like only looking back there? You're just not looking at Modern alpha grading? Is that kind of what you're doing to kind of prepare for it?
What do you mean looking back?
I mean, are you just kind of going back to like what, like maybe XY, black and white, and so on back because Modern's so crazy right now?
Even further. And I also look for other IPs and stuff. But like, yeah, I stay mostly vintage. And the problem is like every time I try to do a Modern play, my friends has 40 of that same card. And so it just like feels like, I don't know. What do you think about that, Jason? How do you feel about the homies having like 60 Pikachu ARs or SARs? And it's like,
yeah, I mean,
it's just you need money. I don't know. Modern is just about money times number equals number. Like it's not. I guess it's not that interesting to me. I don't know.
I mean, I think everything about the price shows, what supply and demand is doing. And so I'm not really worried about what the Pikachu is going to be at market price wise, or even the full art or the gold or, all these cards that, I mean, there's, the Lycia card, there's the Latios cards that have been out for more than a month now in Japanese. It's like, what are those going to do in English? I just try whenever it's a new set to not think about it and just like kind of go off of like, what's a realistic 10 price for this? What's my downside risk? Like if Pikachu comes out, let's say it comes out at 150 and the next day it's 300, the next day it's 450, like things are getting crazy, I would probably just pass on that. But also what the cool thing about knowing stuff about the Japanese cards is like, for example, I'll give one of my plays out right now. The Bubble Mew is on a tear in English, like a stupid tear. It's the most expensive card in that set now. It's basically pulling a Moonbreon, where the Moonbreon shot past the Rayquaza. It's shooting back past the Charizard right now. So for me, I'm looking at the Japanese Bubble Mew. I'm seeing the PSA 10s. They were at 90 to 100. Now they're up to like 120. But I'm seeing a bunch of raws for like 50. So it's like, do I want to buy a $250 raw Mew, or should I buy the Japanese that hasn't moved yet? Which inevitably people who can't afford the Mew in this short time frame, but they still want the art, they're going to go for the $125 tin instead of the $500 one. So you can play Japanese and English off each other like that for, I would say the most popular cards. Like if the trainers are going crazy in Japanese, I wouldn't go too crazy into English trainers just because like it's kind of two different markets. Like the Japanese people like the trainer cards a lot more than the English market likes the English trainers. So it's like just certain things like that. It's like the bubble Mew in Japanese should go up in value, or maybe you're bullish on Paldea Fates because English is so crazy expensive that instead of buying the Paldean Fades ETBs while they're on a tear, maybe you buy Shiny Treasure, the Japanese specialty set box, for 32 a box instead, and hope that goes to 50 in the short term. So the cool thing about Pokemon is like when one of the languages is going on a tear, you're not cut out of the market. Like if you don't want to participate in the high risk, high reward area, you can go back to the more, potentially steady. Like who knows what the Japanese Mew will be in the next few weeks. Like let's say the English one goes up to 700. We start seeing really crazy stuff. The Japanese Mew is not going to stay at 125. It's impossible.
So. Yeah, I get that. I want to hear. So Nesty, obviously things are kind of like getting to be like almost boring for you, or not as exciting, whatever. I gotta at least ask you, man.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. What's up?
Doing chess full time. I assume this has to be something where not much changes. How does that stay exciting for you?
Got him.
Yeah, got me. You'd be surprised, bro. It's just it's a very complex game, and there's things that you kind of like think and then you understand later. And then my main job is teaching people how to play chess, so I really enjoy it. Like I just enjoy kind of unlocking the students' potential and like trying to figure out what they do really well, and then showing them like games that'll help them with that strength. And like it's very complex. It definitely doesn't feel. It has at times, like any other job, could feel repetitive. But right now I have a really good group of students, and I'm super juiced, and we're winning everything. And like even my own chess has improved, and it's just a good time, And that's what I was trying to say a little earlier, not to rant, but like if the hobby's feeling a little like it's dragging and stuff, but then my other job is feeling really good, better than like ever. That doesn't mean I hate the hobby, because I want to focus on, the other thing. Like it's just, I guess I wear many hats, Sometimes.
Yeah, so I guess it's more about like seeing your students succeed and like kind of as a team all doing better type thing.
Yeah, and then also like it's like being a role model too in a way. And then I also have adult students, and it's really cool to like see them improve. And like so like I'm teaching a 17-year-old right now who's just really strong, and so I'm like his talent is uncapped, like he's much stronger than I was at 17. So just working with him and trying to like give him some of my secrets that'll save him years that then he could use, like it's fun. I don't know, I just like enjoy that process. And I also felt sometimes like when I had all my, let's say I had a huge collection, Alex, right, and I cashed out and I made 10K or something, right, it's over. Like it's gone. There's no like, you know what I'm saying, there's no receipts for that. The only receipts you have in the hobby is your friends and your, I guess your like your name, right? Because people know you, that you're solid or whatever. But when you sell your stuff, that's it. With my other job, it's not like that. Like I'm building relationships, man. I'm helping these kids and these people to like reach their goals, and it's I really enjoy it. I don't know.
How long have you been doing that for? Like how long have you been like making a living doing that?
Since I was 17, so it's going on like almost 20 years, man. Yeah, it's been a while.
You've made a full-time living in chess since you were 17?
Yeah, pretty much.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's just what I always enjoyed to do, and I was just fortunate that I got with the right people to, like, I don't know. I wasn't even a hustler. I just kind of fell into it, and then I was like, I could do this, Like I didn't become a hustler till I met Dan in retrospect.
Hold on, let's take the super chat real quick. Pokebuff, appreciate you. Pulled the Latias SIR in pre-release, but came with a little ding on the top edge. I want it in a PSA 10. Will that be enough to not get a 10, or should I sell it, buy a copy later? I mean, it's impossible to tell without seeing it, but
depends on
a
your
little
grader.
ding.
Did he get laid the night before? Is he full? Is it right before lunch? Is he hungry? I mean, it could be PSA 10. It could be a PSA 7.
Yeah, I mean, a ding sounds bad to me. Like if you said it was like a white dot, I'd feel a little better. If it's got like an actual, like, I don't know, indentation or something, I'd probably a lot less likely. But yeah, I mean, okay, PSA 10 is not a perfect card, right? We all know that. It's not perfect. It can have, some white specks. It can be off center. It can, it can have like a hairline, like even print line sometimes, even hairline scratch on the hollow or something. But so it's not a perfect card, but yeah, I mean, they're really kind of PSA takes like dings or like any type of something you could even like think was a crease, but it's not a crease, like any type of like corner bend, they're really serious about those things a lot more than like, surface issues and things. So yeah, I would say if it has any of that and it's not worth it as a 9, may not be worth it to grade.
But also if they're at the pre-release too, like it's important to get to know the guys at the shop and the people that are also pulling cards with you, because there could be someone else that pulls the Latias and just wants a binder copy, and theirs looks way better than yours, and be like, hey, you want to trade this? Plus I'll give you $10. I'm really particular about quality, and mine's got the ding, and why don't you make some money and keep the same card? So
it's more like a tiny fold on the hollow side.
Yeah, that's kind of a hit or miss. I don't know, that sometimes I won't see it, but
yeah, and I don't want to get like dinged for, all the sticklers in the community who are the pure hobbyists and hate any type of.
All right, I got one. I got a random one. Alex, what's your pizza order?
What's that?
What's your pizza order? Go-to pizza order, bro. This is very important.
Mine's probably like hamburger pepperoni or like meatball pepperoni.
Meatball pepper, Jesus, dude.
Or just like hamburger pepperoni.
That's like a hearty meal. That's like
hell yeah. I mean, hey, or me and my wife we're big, like the Hawaiian style. So like the
Hawaiian
the pineapple ham bacon, stuff like that.
So
dude, I go crazy and get the pineapple and pepperoni sometimes.
Pineapple, pepperoni, and onions is good too, dude. It's just
why? What was the correct answer?
Light cheese. Like cheese.
The Dave Portnoy style.
Like cheese, bro. So you can enjoy it. No, but I was gonna ask you, does your wife work? Like obviously she has her. She doesn't work in Pokemon, right? She does. Like, how does she feel about it? Because you have a big channel. Like, this is a big part of your life. I don't know. Like, how do you like explain that to people and shit? Like, I always wonder about that.
I mean, I'm real open about it. I don't know. I just tell people I freaking do Pokemon for a living. No, she's got like a regular, 9-to-5 job, works from home. So, she enjoys what she does. I've always just kind of been an entrepreneur. Like I've always just like been in and out of different businesses. Like I've had sales jobs here and there, like when I've been in between like businesses I've had, but never at like a job very long. So she's kind of used to me doing all kind of crazy, wild stuff. Like as long as I bring the income in, she's fine.
Yeah. That's funny.
I mean, that's good though. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people who have partners that don't understand it to the point where it becomes toxic too. It's like, why can't, like, I imagined you as following your degree in IT and leveling up in a company. I don't understand why you're full-time Pokemon or whatever the explanation be. Like, I've been in a relationship like that. I'm sure there's plenty of people here that have been in relationships like that. So I don't know.
Well, put it this way. I mean, when I got out of college with a human resource degree, I had a lawn care company that I did all through high school and college, and I just ended up buying out another one and doubling in size and just doing that full time. So it's like I've really never used my degree, and I've always kind of took that route of like, why are you doing this instead of using your degree or whatever. And so it's just kind of par for the course for me, like just in and out of multiple different businesses. This is just one that kind of stuck for the time being. But another thing is, it's like after the whole 2020, 2021 thing, and like how much everything that we had like boomed, it kind of like afforded me like kind of almost like a never questioning it again type thing. It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I, no more questions were really asked after those days.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I'm still
Dude, you
stuck
got
on
this the pot stirred with the pizza. What's up with the pizza question? I gotta know. What is that? Is that how you like assess someone's character?
Well, it's his main food and nutrition source, so it's important to know.
It tells me everything I needed to know. Yeah, it's been noted.
Dude, I work out. I gotta have that protein, man.
Oh yeah, true. Dude, yeah, that's the hardest part of working out. It's just eating. Eating is so hard. Like, especially eating clean, and it's tough, bro. Every now and then I cheat.
Dude, we ate with Dr. Applesauce in Chicago, Collecticon. Dude's on carnivore diet.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's going out with all of us to a Mexican restaurant, like which is all carbs.
Yeah.
And he's staying on carnivore diet. He was there just literally got just like a huge piece of steak and just like cutting up steak. And I'm just like, man, you are dedicated. But he's like, yeah, I'm down like 30 pounds. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna hate on it.
Dr. Velociraptor, dude. It's just, yeah, what do you even do? Yeah, I'll take the fajitas, but just the meat. I don't know. It's interesting. I've done the carnivore diet before, and it's difficult. I don't know. Sometimes you feel like you need a veggie or two.
How long did you last?
I think I did like 3 months, and I actually did lose a lot of weight, but I don't know. I probably didn't have enough like vitamin supplementation, and there's a whole. It was like kind of right when the fad started. I was like, I'll try it. I mean, I'm fat. I'll give it a shot.
I mean, talk about like having a degree. Like, what about freaking Weedle?
Yeah.
Like he was like what, like a manager of a pharmacy or something stupid?
Yeah,
I hate that guy.
I hate him in his warehouse.
Like, how the hell do you give that up? I mean, that's more risky than anyone I've heard of. Like, quitting their job or like going full time. Like,
no, I'll tell you the backstory. I'll tell you the real story that he won't tell you. He got caught stealing boxes, and he had to be let go, and now he's a full-time streamer. No, yeah, dude. No, actually, Weedle's a great guy. Like, honestly, Weedle's the man. Like, if you guys aren't following Weedle's warehouse, definitely go check him out. He's cool.
Yeah.
And sure, I feel like Weedle's one of the big winners, man. Like, I know he would never say that, but like, Weedle like won. Like, he became a pillar quick, bro. And yeah, I'm super, super proud of him for that, for sure, dude.
I can't blame him though. Have y'all ever like been waiting for your order at the pharmacy and just like seen them under the fluorescent lights and like white lab coats? Like, I couldn't be standing up all day in that real bleak environment. Like, I don't blame him at all. Like, I would lose my mind for sure.
What's your guys' take on this this rip and chip culture? Like, this was obviously not a thing when, back 3 years ago. And now it's like kind of like, in my opinion, the force is driving the hobby. What do you guys see like coming of this? Does it just kind of grow into oblivion, and this is like just what continues to drive, sealed product into the stratosphere, and then like drive singles into the ground? Or does this eventually like calm down when the hobby calms down? Like, where do you see this rip and ship business stuff going?
I think it's the future. Like, it's just all ease of access. Everything's leading towards everything being easier. Like, that's all that technology gives us, is make everything easier. Instead, like, you used to be like, okay, I want to rip some packs, I'll go to Target. So you get in your car, you spend money on gas, you have to go into the store, buy all the product. Oh, and it's 2020, it's not even there. So it's like, to be able to get on your phone, instant access with your credit card, and you can just start ripping a wide, like Ernie's background right now, or your background. Like, people have a wide range of things you can rip, and you can spend infinite amounts of money. Like, you can hop on Whatnot right now and rip a Skyridge pack if you want, or you could get on and rip a Battle Styles pack. Like, that's unheard of, and I think that's super cool. And I don't think it's really going to do anything but help the hobby. I mean, people do have gambling addictions, and that's a whole nother, side to the rip and chips. But all it's doing is giving more people more access to open products they like. And it helps sealed investing. Like, it's the best thing to ever happen to sealed investing. Like,
100%, 100%.
yeah.
Well,
Do you guys
wait, let me-
know? Do you guys know
hold
Fig
on.
Tree?
No, who's that?
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Because I didn't know if he was like asking the question as like a troll. So like we'll take that question next because I've seen it asked a few times. But go ahead,
Oh,
Nesty.
yeah. So I just wanted to say this, like, so I play poker, and sometimes, like, you know, I'm at the casino and I see stuff, right? And I also live close to a casino. So right now, the Hard Rock, they're doing this thing where if you bet sports, I'm sure you guys have seen it all over the world. If you are betting sports, they'll give you $100 free roll. So you can bet 100, lose it, and they'll give. So they're that confident that they're gonna make money off of you long term that they're like, bro, here, take the first $100 on us.
Mhm.
If you guys think Pokemon people are degenerates, you guys don't know casino people. When I tell you that one casino person will rip more packs than, okay, maybe you, Alex, but like even you, Smith, like you be ripping, but you still have a conscience. Like you still don't wake up with blood everywhere. Like you still are like, okay, we ripped 300. But dude, these people like true degens, they'll rip till they're broke. They'll literally ruin their life, like they're degens. So it's really sad to me because I know and I've seen it firsthand, like what that means for people. But also as a business, that's what you want, right? Those are the people you want. So it's like, it's like he said, like the ease of access, you have to pay a premium for that. You have to pay a commodity to not leave your house and do what you want. And that plus the gambling addiction, plus like people being lonely and shit, like, man, they're gonna print money, but you know, the
No,
ethics.
I was just raising my hand because that was me in college, like at the casino all the freaking time, man. Like it was bad. It was bad.
Oh, dude, it's dark, bro. Yeah, but
It's how they get you though. Like they'll send you out those coupons like, hey, you get $50 in free bets every week. And you're just like, oh, bet. I'm going to get in there, throw it on black. It's going to hit. I'm doubling up, going to walk out, get myself some free food. But then all of a sudden you stay in there and maybe I'll just throw another one. Maybe. And then all of a sudden you're $500 down. Like what just happened?
Yeah.
100%, bro. And they bring you free drinks. It's a, you know, it's the same thing and whatnot. And bro, even Fanatics, right? Fanatics gave me a $60 coupon to make an account. And now I have an account and I have it on my phone. So now I'm probably going to spend $60 lifetime. Like maybe not right away, but one day, you know, Dan will be streaming or somebody will be streaming. Like they know what they're doing, bro. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the same gameplay. It's been around forever. It's just, you know, it's just like a drug dealer. Like you give the first to order free, right? Like it's just they know what's up. They know what's up. They'll get people in there. They'll get them addicted. I mean, it sucks. Like it does suck, but it's just like, you know, when I was doing like in-home sales for like construction sales, like in-home like construction type sales for like exterior, interior. One of the things like our manager would always say is just like they're gonna buy from somebody. Why not you? Like that person is going to buy from somebody. Why not make it you? You know, it's like whenever someone was like, yeah, you know, I sold the stuff to this 80-year-old lady. She probably didn't need it, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, well, she was going to buy it from somebody. And it's like, it's such a dirty thing to say. And I'm not even sure dirty, I agree with it.
No.
Huh?
But I don't think I agree with that. But
I don't either. But it's just like, put it this way. Some people are going to log on to buy packs, right? And if you're not streaming, they're going to go to someone else's stream. They're not just going to say, okay, I guess I'm not going to buy packs tonight. So it's just like, what do you do?
Well, yeah. I think that gambling comes from a desperation. And I think that the people that would like exploit the gamblers are also desperate in some way to like get out of their situation. So it's just this really sad thing where you got these people that need the money. So they're gambling to try to get, you know, the money that they don't have, right? And then
do you think that's like the norm in the Pokemon community though?
I don't know, but I definitely think there's a lot of flex culture on the Instagram and people living and collecting beyond their means, like for sure. And there's a lot of hot potato, bro. Like this guy will have the Lugia, and then 2 weeks later I sold it to this guy, and then he'll sell it, and it's like nobody can actually afford that card. It's just eye candy for a couple of weeks until the credit cards due. Then you got to take an L just to flex. Like I think there's a lot of that. There's very few people that like legit have grails and don't sell.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is just like take the casino, for example, right? Like there's a difference between someone there like in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, like sitting in a slot machine, draining away their money, than like, going with a group of friends on a Friday and Saturday night and throwing down a few bucks, having a good time. And like, I feel like that's what a lot of the Pokemon hobby is at this point. It's more entertainment. It's more fun. Like, I don't think people are logging on and like clicking the button to buy packs in hopes they hit a card to like make money on. Like, I don't know if it's like more of that. I think it's more entertainment there right now. What do you think about that?
So you think when people are on Whatnot, they're just kind of more chilling with the community there and hanging out, and they're spending a little money? You think it's more like a social thing?
I mean, I would think most. I mean, I know like a good amount of people that buy from me on my pack breaks. I mean, some of them I know personally. I know they're not like struggling. I know they're just like, it's like for fun. I mean, I know I've bought into pack breaks myself,
Okay, yeah, no, okay, I see what you're saying now. Okay, yeah, I don't think it's the same. No, I don't think Pokemon people are desperate and trying to hit. I'm just saying that in general, when somebody's willing to gamble with money they don't have, it's usually a sign of desperation because they can't fix the problem. So now they want to take a big swing at potentially fixing the problem. Does that make? It's like, fuck it, I'm gonna rob a liquor store. Like, dudes don't rob a liquor store because they want to. It's like they're desperate. So
Well, I feel like that happens in Pokemon though too. Like you could make an argument that everyone like what are Evolving Skies packs at right now? Like 20, 25-ish or something. I mean, I see them being auctioned on streams for over $30. Those people I would argue are more desperate. Yeah, exactly. They're way more desperate than trying to enjoy Evolving Skies. Where it's like if there's a guy who bought 3 Battle Styles packs, yeah, he probably wants the T-Tar, but he's not desperately like it's not make or break for him for that $15 he just spent. Where it's like, let's open Phantom Forces or let's open, tag team. Like, I don't know. Some of those, like your chances of hitting for what you're putting in are just insane. So,
well, then the auctions will go up. The auctions will go higher. Like the more hits don't come. It's just like, it's 7 packs in. There's no big hit yet, and the people will start bidding more because they know it's coming, type thing. So yeah, I get what you.
I got a question for you, Alex. It's kind of a cynical question, but I guess I wouldn't feel right without asking you. Because it feels
guys, throw any stuff you want out there. Like I think we're all open books here. So yeah, for sure.
No, like, and I'm not trying to insult you or anything. It's just an observation, Like I did feel like and I still feel right now that you played the YouTube game well, in the sense that you had a voice, and like the people that didn't like you, and the people that liked you, but there's a lot of like fence sitting, and like you said, like there's not like a lot of clear opinions. And then it's like, I'm sure you've been wrong on some of them, but at least it's like you stood on what you believed at the time, and then were able to share that with your audience. So I think that's like directly related to your growth in the space, bro, because like people want honest voices, right? People want like real people, right? But like I also, like when you started ripping packs, I kind of cynically thought, like, was this your plan the whole time, to just like start a bunch of shit, get to 15K, and then get rich off of pack ripping? Like, and if it was, like, well done, but like, was it more like, how did you get into like ripping the packs, being the sealed guy? Was it just like organic? Did you plan it out? Like,
Well, it's definitely to reduce the amount of sealed out there to make my investments go higher.
Okay, yeah, shut it down.
That's so funny, dude. Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm definitely not getting rich opening packs. But no, I mean, it was let's see. No, it was definitely not like this master plan. It was I think I talked about it before. I talked with Pokey, and I was talking with him in Kansas City Collecticon one year, maybe last year. And I was just talking to him like, yeah, man, I'm just trying to find, ways to make this full time, trying to find ways to compete. I know this grading, thing is what a lot of people do, because YouTube really doesn't pay enough to make a living. And I was just like, trying to find avenues, because, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. So I've always tried to find avenues on way I could compete in the business and like, kind of get to a point where I can make a living. And he was just saying, well, I used to stream on Twitch, and, kind of gave me the basics of it. And he's just like, it's a lot of fun, whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I loved it. Like, I love opening packs. I love like the energy and like, pulling something for somebody. And it's really fun. And so actually like talking about the whole like, is it for the money? Obviously, like, everything's for every business is for the money
Yeah,
in
you're not
some
gonna do
perspective.
something for free either. Like,
But I will say it's not all for the money, because I tried Whatnot, and I will say I had zero fun doing the singles thing. Like, all right, guys, here's another card on camera. Here's the front. Here's the back. I'm gonna put it on a 5-second auction. All right, you won. All right, next. So then I can make a lot of money doing that. A lot of people do it. You can see a lot of your friends probably do it. Hated it. It has no excitement. There's no joy. And all I want to do is open packs because it's way more fun for me. And so, no, the answer is like, is it for the money in some perspective? Well, yeah, it's part of my business. But two, if I wasn't having fun and enjoying it, I wouldn't be doing that either. I just actually enjoy opening packs. And I know like maybe at some points I've talked to like other big breakers, and they'll even tell me like, yeah, it's really hard to get excited anymore. I'm still in that phase where I pull the top hit in the set, and I'm still super excited. Like when I pulled the 151 Charizards on Thursday, it's not like a fake reaction. I'm truly still like excited about that stuff. So maybe if that ever kind of winds down and I truly don't enjoy it, maybe. But no, I mean, it's definitely something that came about like just because I was looking for other avenues, ended up liking it, and that's where we're at. That's my honest answer on it.
I mean, it kind of makes sense too. Like, since you can't rip your own, you want to rip other people's. Like, like get it out and make a profit. Like, it's pretty good, you know.
That's exactly it. Like, I don't rip my own product. Like, I'll rip like a box of each set that comes out with my wife, but no, I don't want to rip my own product. And so it allows me to kind of get that out of my system every single night. And like I said, it's just fun. It's entertaining. Like, that was one of the things I figured out real quick. So the investing community, the whole community is, I feel like, more positive than it used to be. But you guys remember how it used to be? Everyone seemed very negative all the time about a lot of things. Like, it was definitely a more bearish community 2 or 3 years ago than it is now. And the minute I started to like cross over into that pack opening, the Whatnot, like that community, I realized real quickly this was a lot more happy, enjoying community. And that's another reason I really started to dip my toes in even deeper. I'm like, everyone here's having fun. They're not always out to like get someone else or talk about how this was a bad thing or this guy got ripped off or him. It was just like, it was a way to kind of escape from that side of the hobby. So that was another reason I really dove in deeper, more and more.
I mean, you're also providing an extra way for people to hang out with you. Like, it's another avenue of entertainment. And you already have all the positive.
Yeah, I'm just naturally like a positive person. Like, it's not like an act. I mean, you guys, I mean, you met me in person. Like, I haven't met Nesty, but let's like, if you meet me in person, I'm generally optimistic, positive, having a good time, like high energy. And so like being around too much like bearishness, negativity, like, you know, doomsday type stuff, it just brings me down. Like, I just, you know, I like to be around people that are having a good time and having fun, entertaining, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to have fun in your hobby, bro. How dare you?
Yeah, I mean, what did Mike say? All right, Mike says some Poke investors shouldn't because they can't handle not gambling and eventually opening it. Yeah, and you know, that's, you know, Jake used to, you know, Pokenomics, he used to kind of touch on that kind of side of things more in his channel, but his kind of his background, his profession, like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form like, you know, qualified to talk on like, you know, people's like emotional, you know, any of that type of stuff. So I, you know, yeah, there's people that probably take it too far. There's people that shouldn't be gambling, but you know, I'm not here to make that judgment, right? Like, I'm not here to tell people like, hey, I'm not like the bartender saying, hey, you've had enough, Sam, you got to go home tonight, you know, like cutting them off. So it's like, I just kind of in the back of my head think, hey, anyone that buying these, they can handle it, they can afford it, it's entertainment to them, and I think that majority of people is. And I just don't think it's really my business to, you know, dive into their finances on what a grown adult spending their money on type thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to let people live too. Like, it's really hard to try to manage everyone else in the hobby. Like, oh, you're doing this wrong because you didn't make your car payment. You shouldn't open, you know, a box right now, or all that. Like, people are going to do what they're going to do, like what makes them happy. And if that, you know, is financially detrimental to them, that's just something they're going to have to learn and eventually find out for themselves. But like, if you're telling someone like, no, you can't do this, like, you're kind of the problem also. Like, that's not, because people who, like, I don't know if you've ever had someone tell that to you, and like, where it's like, oh, you're doing something wrong. It's hard unless you're very close to that person to take that as constructive criticism. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, you're just being a dick to me right now. Like, why are you pointing out my flaws? Like, because people already know deep down inside what they're doing wrong. So you bring it to the like top of the like right in front of their face and just like bouncing it around in front of their face, like, oh, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. You're just being an asshole. But
yeah,
It's
I,
it's like
Go
it's like
ahead.
the golden rule, right? It's like treat people how you want to be treated. Like it's almost like I wouldn't do something that I wouldn't like push something or sell something that I wouldn't also do myself or have done myself. That's kind of what like I look at it as, is like I used to take part in pack breaks. I'll still from time to time take part in pack breaks. It's fun. It's entertaining. Like when you do get that hit, it's like it's something that I do and I have done and I understand it. So that's why I don't really necessarily feel bad about it. But again, I see people that I see like their side of things that say like it's bad, it's gambling, it's not good for the community, it's not good for people. I get that side of things. I just don't 100% agree with it, and think people should be able to spend their entertainment dollars that way. Like it'd be like me saying, hey, I think where your finances are, it's not right for you to go buy a $100 steak dinner with your wife. Like I think you guys should be putting that towards your bills or your credit card that you're behind on. But like that's just not my decision to make. My decision, my spot is to like make it entertaining, make it fun. And if people want to, jump in, that's on them, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess I just wanted to say this. Like, if two people are having a disagreement or a debate or whatever you want to call it, right? But both people think they're right, it doesn't go anywhere. Like, if I'm 100% right that Jake Smith can't dunk, and you're 100% right that he can't dunk, it's like we can't actually have a discourse because you're just it's kind of like you're dogmatic on it, right? You're set in your ways about that. Like, you get me? So like there's certain things I'm set in my ways. Like if people tell me Miami's not hot, I'm not gonna have a reason. Like it's hot. It's always hot. I've lived here my whole life. It's very hot. You got what I'm saying? I'm dogmatic about that. But so I think kind of what happened was like, I don't know if it was the way you came across or if it was that it was so different. And I think there was like maybe just egos clashing, or maybe just, I don't know, man, got off on the wrong foot, which sometimes happens too. Like I'm sure under different circumstances, you guys maybe would have clicked in a different way. But I also think like just from being in the cabal and in that group all those years or whatever, LOL, I guess it's hard for me to gauge, Alex, because I learned like a lot, and I leveled up a lot with Jake and with Dan and with all the people in Pokenomics, and it was a community of flippers and collectors, But then it was a bit bearish in a time when I should not have been bearish at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you understand? It kind of felt like Jake was like trying to protect the community, but it was like it was a time to just not be protected. It was literally a feeding frenzy. Literally anything. You threw anything in plastic, you made money. And I think us, the Spicy Boys, we kind of realized that, like, yo, you are right about all of these things, but you're not right about this thing. And I think that's kind of what happened with you as well. That like, you're like, yo, Jake, you're right about everything, but dude, you're like not seeing this right here or whatever, And then, but I mean, it's like Jake is not perfect, bro. He's he has a girl and a family and everything. Like he can't catch everything. So I just think it was like the way it was handled. Egos got involved or something, because there's no reason for all of us not to make money, especially then when the money was like literally available. Like there was no reason to be bearish at that time.
I think here, I'll tell you, here's my best way to describe it. It'd be like you hanging out with all your boys, right? And me and me like absolutely dissing one of them, or absolutely coming at one of them. Then you could come back to your group and be like, yo, dude, that's that dude that like came at me and talked all kind of shit, and you're like, oh, screw him. And then you guys are all like, oh yeah, F that guy, screw that guy. And I think that's more what it was, is like I had some disagreements with a few key people and we went at each other kind of hard. And then it was just like, oh, the entire group just all turned against me. And so then I just fed into it like, all right, screw it. I guess I'll just be the bad guy then. If I'm not invited in the group, if I can't be friends with everybody, no one wants to be friends with me, I'm just going to push back and be the villain. And that's just kind of the route that I took. Well, and here's I get both sides. Like I get my side, like feeling like an outcast and being like, okay, well, I'm just going to, kind of be a trailblazer and blaze my own trail. But I get the other side too. It's just like, hey, if I'm loyal, like I got friends, like if someone came at one of my friends, I'm much more likely to be like, yeah, screw that guy. Like, yeah, he's ousted, and be like, no, we're going to protect what we got going here. We're not going to let someone come in here and screw up our friend group. So like, I get it both ways. I'm not even upset with anybody. It's just how it went down. And we
Well,
moved
also,
on.
it's not even worth your time to be upset. Like some people just hold grudges for so long, and it's just a toxic little thing in your mind. Like if you're hating someone for so long, like more than a year, you have to realize like what's wrong with yourself that you're spending this much time over someone you're not even talking to.
I mean, you saw I vended right next to Rock Pokemon, and like we got along great. I mean, hit it off with them and had a great combo. And he was one of the people in the chat that was just like always like we joked about it. I pulled out a stock chart of Abercrombie and Fitch and showed it like straight up. Because I remember one of the comments he made was like, "I'm shorting A&F all because of this guy or something," and it was just honestly, man, looking back. I had a lot of fun with it, and I wish, kind of like Nesty said, I wish people in this community didn't like have their feelings hurt as easy, because I think it was a lot more fun back then. The hobby was like there's much more like intense debates, and I thought it was a lot better. But again, I don't want to like be the one upsetting people at the same time. And like I told Mason this too at Collecticon. I'm like, I always go back to one thing Mason said to me, and I think it was like more in private, but and he wouldn't care. But he was like, "Hey, Alex, listen. Me and you get it, and we're okay playing the game. These other guys, they don't want to play the game. And so you're playing, but they don't want to play." And I'm just like, that makes sense, man. That makes sense.
That's exactly, bro. You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like some people just are not playful like that, And then it's like, or some people just like take themselves too serious, or I don't know if it's insecurity or what it is, but like, bro, I literally make fun of myself on a daily basis, and I don't hang out with people that don't. Like straight up, like my friends are the people that I can like just completely be myself with, And I also think though, like to provide a little bit of nuance, it's like we all were getting hit with so much shit at the time, sales here, this and that, this and that, and that. It's like the fact that we made it out is a success story, to me. Like, cause it was insane, bro. It was insane. And
yeah, I think the only
agree,
Jake's the only person I feel like squashed things with, because like even I mean, I'm not saying like me and PK are best friends, right? But like, we got a chance to meet in person. We got a chance to do that stream together. We talked a good amount after stream. Like, I mean, I get where PK's coming from. I definitely came at him hard. I said some things I shouldn't have, took it way too far. Like, but like, I get him. I respect him. I mean, family man, has a kid, just trying to enjoy his hobby, whatever. And so like, and I've done what I said I'd do. I'm gonna keep the drama out. I try not to talk bad about him. Like, I let him do his thing. I'll do mine. And everyone else, like I've never had huge beefs with anyone else. Anyone else I feel like I've talked with, we've, kind of squashed stuff. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, having a good time. But like, so maybe me and him will squash the beefs at some point. But yeah, man.
I'm sure you guys will squash it, bro. I'm sure you guys will squash it.
Yeah, I don't want anyone like to be like actually like I said this before, like actually upset outside of like the hobby. Like I don't want you to turn your screen off at the end of something and be thinking about it in bed or like going out throughout your life. Like if it gets to that point, then yeah, I don't want to have debates. I don't want to. I just thought we were just like, we're all in the hobby. Like we're kind of like you said, you're on the basketball court, or you're in the Call of Duty lobby, and you're freaking going back and forth with each other. And then as soon as the game's over, like, all right, so you guys back here the next day. Like I thought that's how it was. I didn't realize we were getting to the point of like actual feelings getting hurt, actually getting upset. And so I should have realized that sooner and toned it down. So I take just as much responsibility for the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's honestly, doesn't really matter. Nobody made money, so it's really forgettable. And also, yeah, like whatever, man. It also kind of let you see who was who, because like I think Alex, like maybe he felt a responsibility to like take care of his Patreons and stuff in the best way he saw possible. And I can respect that. And I definitely feel like Jake was looking out for us. Like I never felt like he was like misleading us, But now with hindsight being 2020 and everybody obviously knowing the future now, I could have said, oh, like some of the things, I guess we all could have done better, So it's whatever, bro. It's in the past, and hopefully you guys can squash all the beef, and like PK's cool, bro. I'm sure you guys can be friends, man. Like it'll be good.
Yeah, I got nothing against anybody, dude. For real, like, heck, I even shook hands with Rattle and talked with him at a collect account before. Like, I got nothing against anyone. Like, you know, we all disagree with what any of us do at any particular time. Like, someone will disagree with how I promote like my channel or information or, you know, things I do. I can disagree with how people like, you know, carry themselves or things they do. It's just, we're just all have different opinions. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big deal though. This right here is a really big deal. Thrifty, you know, as you ask her to rip a box. Would you be mad if your homie asked you to rip your investments that haven't had time to appreciate, or am I overreacting?
Yeah, she won't rip me nothing, Jack. It's dark. She's supposed to be my hobby bestie, and she won't rip me a $20 box, dude. It's darkness. Nah, man, no, for sure, for sure. I think that's a good sentiment though. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like seeing something for the first time. Like you have a pretty crazy background in sales, high energy, high momentum. At the time, like the fastest momentum was Dan, Jake, PK. Like those were all the biggest, and it was all very professional, very slow, meticulous spreadsheets.
yeah, like
You know,
long talks. Like,
very long niche, like way too niche into the niches talks, and just piles of dust left and right
yeah,
of stuff
the
that
best,
really
the
didn't
finest,
matter to the market.
gold dust.
And then you're coming in bop 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 bop, stirring things up when we're a nice little, we're a little
Village.
oasis. We're not a, you know, we're not the ocean. So,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean,
feel that's exactly why I started the channel. To be honest with you, is like I was watching all the same stuff you guys were. Like, I just felt like it needed that, and that's exactly what you said is why I started the channel. Is I figured we needed like that information, but in like a smaller, easily digestible form, you know. And instead of having that 2 hour conversation, you know, split
Yeah,
it up into like 4, 10 to 15 minute videos and just cut out the fluff and give the people what they need real quick. And that's honestly like what I thought the market was missing at that point. Like there was definitely like the hype, you know, like FOMO type, you know, show the products going to the moon type channels. But there wasn't anyone I felt like that was putting it together as good. Like, you know, taking some of that like high energy, like, you know, fun stuff and then adding it with some actual like knowledge, data, and statistics. And so like, yeah, I mean, I think that's what I wanted to do. And I think I've been fairly successful at it to a point, you know.
yeah, definitely. Um, I don't know.
Let's see
It's
what
like,
Blake's saying. Blake said opening a Pokemon deck is like a Zen pouch compared to Vegas roulette. No one is walking to a card shop to change their life monetarily. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I
no,
stand
I
on.
agree.
Like, I don't think
I
it's
agree. I
that
agree.
serious.
No, but I do. I guess my point, Blake, was that if one casino DJ gets into Pokemon, it represents like 10 of us getting into Pokemon. That was my main point. I'm not sure I got that across. Like, you know,
yeah,
if
like
those
their
people,
spending level, or basically like ripping
or
packs.
dude,
You
or
mean?
like just the people that like to spend on the phone, guys, like the people that hit the whatnots on the Fanatics, on the eBays, you know, and the roulettes and the spins and all those things. Like, as people get more into their phone, like they could integrate. Why do you think Pokemon Pocket is a thing? Like, these companies are understanding that our attention is being consumed by these devices more and more, and the more credit cards linked to that device, the better for them. You know what I'm saying? So, not, I don't want to get too dark. We were on a really positive vibe here, but like, you know, like, dude, I'm connected to all these platforms. Why? How did they get me to put my info on there? You know?
No, I like it, man. I get it. I mean, there's definitely, you know, there's definitely downsides to everything. There's definitely dark sides. There's definitely a future where things don't turn out bright. Like, I'm 100% willing to explore like the negative. Like, just because I have more of a positive outlook, you know, like I'm a person that's probably not going to be like the one shorting stocks or putting in put options. Like, I'm the one that's going to be looking at the long-term growth. And I think things are going to like turn out, you know, good in the long run type thing. Like, oh, if the stock market crashes tomorrow, you know, in 5 years, it's going to hit new all-time highs anyway. So I'm just going to keep investing. So like, I have more of that mentality, but I'm always interested in like looking at the other mentality of like, you know, the doom and gloom. Cause I get it. It's a thing. It has to be discussed.
But dude, that's what a community is, right? Like, what's the point of all of us just circle jerking and saying the same shit? Like, what's the point? I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I agree with Jake Smith, and that's it. I just let him say it. I don't have to repeat the same shit over and over to like sound smart or whatever. It's like, okay, you got it. Like, I think part of it is like I try to refute the idea, and then if I can't refute it, then it's like, okay, let's do that. So a lot of times, like we'll play like hypothetical, like, yo, Smith, like what if we do this play? And then he'll purposely say, what if this goes wrong? But that's not being negative. That's just like actually trying to make it work. I'm actually trying to understand, bro. Like, I'm trying to put it together. And like, I also don't want to just be like, oh, it's all beautiful. It's all going to the moon. Like, there has to be a balance, I think, and that's why community is good, because sometimes the crazy guys have a good idea. And sometimes, I don't know. I just want to hear everyone out, like see what's going on.
I think it all comes down to the relationship, right? Like, it comes down to a couple things, right? It's online, trying to do like have conversations through lines of text where you can't see people's tones or sarcasm, or you'll take things wrong. And two, the relationship, like the relationship you guys have now, you could say anything you wanted to each other through text or phone, and you're not gonna get upset with the person, right? Like you're getting real advice, or you guys are like just giving each other shit. Where it's just like when you don't know the people, like we were talking about before, you're not with your friends on the basketball court, and that's the mistake I made. Is you have to build the relationship with people before you can like dog on them or like challenge their positions or anything like that. I think that's the main key, is like building the relationship first, and then you can kind of talk freely.
I agree. Especially when people are sensitive too. Like it's a sensitive place, bro. It's a sensitive place, so it is what it is.
Well, I forgot, we never took this guy's question. So Fig Tree. All right. Hey, Alex, quick respond here. Could you share how realistic it is to do card flipping full-time versus the stability of a 9-to-5? Really curious. He did ask that a few times. So, you guys, I feel like for me, it's a little different because my business is so like, it has so many arms, like the flipping and the grading is like a small portion of it. And I did that on purpose because I didn't want to like be dependent on one avenue. I wanted to have like a bunch of different things that had income. So like for me, it's going to be harder because I have never, I don't think, really made it depends on what you mean by full-time living, but like a full-time living just doing card flipping where these guys have. So why don't you guys give more your take on like what it takes to really go full-time on like a grading or flipping business?
You got to lose your soul, and you got to make sure you never find it ever again, and forget about going out and parks and relationships. No, I'm kidding. No, but honestly, like every joke has some truth in it. And like, dude, bro, you gotta go hard.
Pokey put out a video just like that today about like entrepreneurship, like saying how like, you're gonna not attend, family gatherings. Your wife's gonna be upset with you because you're working too long. You're gonna be up all night. You're not gonna be eating or work or like exercising. Like it's just like these are all parts of it on the growth phase. So like again, there is truth to that if you are wanting to start this and not just go to a nice, comfy 40-hour-a-week job.
Well, he's the end goal too. Like, so like, you can start out small. Like I was small in 2023. I still did well, but if you want this to be your 9-to-5 and keep scaling and scaling and scaling, that's what it turns into. Like you're always packaging orders. You're always selling. You're all like, it's like running your own full-time business. Like CEOs don't really get days off. You can try to take a day off, but you're still going to get messages, still going to have to, deal with issues. But
yeah, no, I just wanted to say to that the
talk about the success side as well. Talk about like how you can actually make this into something.
No, for sure. No, but like it's just a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work that people don't see. I've always said that people only show their wins and stuff, like it's just a lot. It's just a lot. And I think one of the most insightful things I actually heard Jake said back in the day was that there is a little bit of I don't know how to say it, but like the people that have been wanting to be a successful business and wanting to like prove to someone that they can be an adult a little bit, and it's like, and I'm sure it's like that with every business, bro. Like I'm sure when you started your lawn company, Alex, you were happy to be making money, man, and to be able to provide and to be able to say, hey, I am doing something, right? Whether you like it or not, I am a person that's trying something, and I think that in the hobby, that's why a lot of people care so much about it too, and are so like sensitive, because it represents more than just the cards. It represents like their life trajectory and their potential future, and like it's like that's why people get really into it, because it's like bro, we're not detached from our choices, right? Like you're not detached, so sometimes you have to skip like a family gathering because you got, I don't know, a shit ton of orders, or overslept because you were on Mercari or whatever it is, you know, like, and you like to think that's not true, but it is, because you're not separate from that. Like, you're still you still got to do it. So I guess I would just advise against. It's tough, bro, because you also feel like you have an advantage and an edge, and you've been waiting for this moment to fucking cook. And it's like, it's tough. Like, I definitely neglected some relationships, but also I made a lot of money. So it's like, how do you, it's life. It's just, it's so hard to know like what's right, man. Like, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem with full time versus just having a normal 9 to 5. Like 9 to 5 is scheduled. Full time, you're opening up your schedule to, you know, maybe you're like, for me, if I was having a low sales month, I'd be like, the last 5 months or the last 5 days of the month, I was working 12 hours just trying to sell, trying to list, trying to get any amount of sales through so I could pay rent, credit card, all this stuff. So, and that's the thing too, is like sometimes I would have like 3 or 4 big sales. I'm like, oh, everything's paid off, everything's good. And then I just don't do anything for 5 days because you're on your own time. Like you're not scheduled 9 to 5. So
Right,
I
that's true
realized
too.
like
That's
I
true.
wasn't, self-disciplined enough to be able to do it. But I'm sure
Hmm.
there's people that are very self-disciplined and would be able to work consistently and it would work out to them. So it's just, I think it really depends on the person. And I mean, 9 to 5 suck because you have to commute, you have to talk to your boss, you have to try to sell people stuff, like depending on what your job is. Whereas like Pokemon flipping is what it is. You can have every single avenue as a part of your business, but managing it all, like taking breaks for your mental health, going, to the gym,
To the skate park.
still taking your girl out to dinner. Like sometimes like you're like, oh, the new set just dropped on TCG Player. Sorry, our
Hmm.
normal Friday outing, it's cooked. We're gonna have to reschedule. And then
Yeah.
you're working all weekend and you forget to reschedule it. And then next thing you know, those start adding up in your relationship and a bunch of your relationships start going downhill because you're just not able to put the same amount of time to it due to like that current circumstance of like a new set being out or new plays being available. So
I mean, I
In
think
your
that's just
guys'
like a,
opinion, in your
yeah.
guys' opinion, out of everyone you know, right? What percentage of them you think are actually like clearing, like a good size income, like say 80, 100,000 plus?
oh, I mean,
Everybody, bro. Everybody, almost
yeah.
everybody, almost all our friends. Like, not even. It's not a flex. It's just, I'm just. You asked me, but almost everybody. Almost everybody. Yeah,
Because I
except
mean,
me.
And they're doing it through flipping, not like not a streaming avenue, like a pack breaking, a content, or like any other source of income. Like how many are just doing it strictly flipping and grading cards? Like, cause like he was asking, I'm trying to get like an answer for him.
Uh, I mean,
well, the biggest people are all like
the big, yeah.
they're on their toes constantly. So it's like if they weren't live streaming, they are now. So it's like Dan wasn't live streaming for a long time. He was flipping on eBay. He was doing PWCC, all this stuff. But now he has some streamers streaming for him. So it's like the bigger you
Yeah, I mean,
get, the more avenues you find too.
yeah, and the newer guys may or may not know Catch 'em All collectibles. A lot of people
Yeah.
probably do, but like outside of the people, the names a lot of people would notice, like like Weedle's
Okay.
Warehouse and
Okay. I'll
Catch 'em All
tell you this.
collectibles. Like how many people that are like more unknown that are just kind of in the flip game? They've finally created a full time income for themselves. Are there a lot of those people that have kind of built their way up and kind of do it behind the scenes, don't have any type of internet personality type thing?
Yes, for sure. Like, our friend in one of our group chats just bought 40 of the Pikachu SARs, bro. He's a huge whale. Nobody knows him. Kai, our homie from Australia, huge whale. Nobody. I mean, he's not on YouTube. There's like, we are not the true spicy boys. The true savages are out there. You know what I'm saying? We're like broke boys that, like, you know what I mean, like cards. Like, it's different. Like, the people that are really fucking going crazy, you don't even know them. It's like some Russian kid, like, that you never heard of, and so, like, I yeah, I do think you can make a full-time living doing this. I just think you need a bankroll and you need to be open-minded. If you're open-minded and you're willing to buy whatever and have a bankroll, it's probably doable, bro. I think it's doable, especially like it's so cheap to get the info. Like to be in every single Patreon and Discord, it costs like 100 a month. If you're moving 100,000 a month, that 100 is like pays for itself. You get all the links to everything. You get the updates to everything. You know when everything's dropping. It's like if you just have a bankroll and a little bit of street savvy and like you're not a scammer, you can make good money, man. I still
That was
think
going to be
that's
my next question is in your guys' opinion, what's a realistic bankroll and what's like a realistic amount of inventory you'd want to have if you really went full time and needed to like pull an income from it each month?
I think I was spending like 10 to 15 a month last year. And I think I was making like 5 or 6 a month, like after, something like that. So maybe like 30 to 40%, like for most of last year.
And then what kind of like inventory did you usually carry? Like what kind of inventory did you carry before you started taking that income?
It was mostly just like, honestly, my whole business just slabs, all slabs.
No, I get that. Like how much
like
do you think you had listed? Yeah.
Oh, like maybe like 15K, 20K. Yeah,
that's not very much then.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It wasn't that crazy because it was mostly churn. It was like I'm spending this much, I'm getting the cards, I'm immediately dumping and recouping, paying my bills, and if I'm lucky, my business is growing. But my business didn't really grow because 4 to 5K a month, 6K a month. That's okay, but it's hard to grow. But that's why for me, I always thought it was about unlocking that next level. I always talked about that. I'm like, if I could tighten up my discipline and my other spending outside of the hobby, and I could turn that 6 into 10 or into 12, then it's actually it's actually doing damage to it's actually affecting the growth, So I think that's why Guido was super successful. That's why Retro, Kai, like they're just more disciplined and they're more about growing that bankroll versus I was more about growing the collection and making fun of Jake and shit. Like,
Yeah, mostly at my expense. Yeah.
Dude, you gotta lock in. Nothing's easy, bro. That's my biggest takeaway. Like, even when the hobby was easy, it wasn't easy. And we should have locked in even harder. And hopefully now with this new boom, we learned our lesson and we really lock in and take advantage, Like at least that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I would like disagree a little bit with you. Like it's been this market. I would say like 20% would probably be more realistic. Trying to hit 30, 40 every month, maybe a little unrealistic for people now. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think so. I think it's different. That's why I like basically stepped away. Like I said, it's been a lot different in the past quarter, at least for me. And of course, Java Kuma in the chat is going to be like, oh, you don't know how to flip. Okay, guys, I get it. But like, I guess what I was doing before it's not working the same way. So it's adapt or die and take your money and keep it moving. Like, I don't mean, what else can you do?
Well, yeah, it's like I was, full sending new back vintage Japanese, getting high 10 rates, at least on the gradable stuff, and, making good margins. And then now I'm full English. That just shows you how the market is it just constantly flip flops. And if you segment yourself into one area, you're going to be cooked. Where it's like early on, I was talking with Retro Specs, and we were just like really integrated cards, like, holding anything sealed is crazy, selling sealed is hard because of the shipping and all this stuff. And then now you can hit them up basically for the best Japanese prices on boxes on Instagram. And it's like, it's just completely flipped because we're constantly learning, constantly growing, and the market is always changing. If you don't think the market is changing, you don't have your eyes open. Like it's like this whole 151 Scarlet and Violet English area, all the English investors are super, geniuses and everything. A year from now, it could be completely flopped and everyone buying V-Star Universe, Shiny Treasures, all these boxes at $30 to $50. Those could be $150 to $200. Like we've already seen it like a year and a half ago, what is the Shining Fates version of in Japanese? Shiny Star Treasures or something. Shiny Star V. Tons of and all the tag team Japanese boxes, like those were $50. And people were buying, Cosmic Eclipse instead, and everything grows and diminishes at different paces. So no one's really wrong with sealed. It's just different timing. So it's like when English is super hot like this, you should have your skin in the game, but also you should probably look at Japanese, because the fact no one's talking about it, that's where all the money is going to be made. And that's what you were talking about too when you first came on the scene, is no one's talking about how crazy popular Modern is. Everyone's still like, oh, why is WotC going down? Why is, all these vintage cards, where'd all the hype go? And it's like it moved into Modern and people were seeing it, but also people were just absolutely ignoring it, because that could not be a possibility that people would want to buy and hold Modern boxes that are printed to oblivion. I mean, you should be buying where people are not looking, but also popular things where people are looking. So,
yeah, I mean, and like, here's my thing. Like, Fig Tree, it depends on what capacity you're wanting to join the hobby. Like, if you're wanting to do this, I mean, honestly, you could probably reach out to some of these streaming networks right now and get $25 plus an hour, like commission, just streaming, like literally just opening packs for them on camera and then shipping them out for them. Like, you could get a job in this hobby. Like, if you're trying to do it for yourself, yeah, like it's getting harder, but like what we talked about before, moving into the cards that may not have the highest quote unquote margins, but the highest dollar amounts, where you're making, 80, 100, 120, 200, $300 a card. You won't get so burnt out by the volume, and you're still going to make good money. You're going to be more protected because, one, you're able to, if they're really high dollar cards, you're able to send them through better grading tiers at PSA and places and get them back faster. You're able to be protected by the authenticity guaranteed by eBay, and they ship them out for you. Honestly, you're going to have more customers because more people are searching for the highest chase cards instead of like the real deep, like maybe like 10th best hit in the set, but it's hard to grade. So it's got a little pop. Like, there's more people just chasing the Charizard than there are some random IR. And so 100%. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like things like that you can do, but at some point it's always going to have to do with some sort of volume. Like, talking about retrospects, he's just like a volume king. He'll just grade like 50 of the same card and just like have tons and tons of inventory. And honestly, like, that's kind of the route a lot of the mainstream resellers take. Like, if you watch like people who just resell on eBay full time, not Pokemon, but everything, it's all about building up large amounts of listings and inventory. So that way, if you have, 1,000 things listed, you're just bound to sell a certain amount per day. So it's just about building the inventory. But
yeah, but Retro does everything, man. Retro's like literally does. He's very knowledgeable. He does vintage and he does also, I don't want to spill his plays, but he has his hands in a lot of things. Like, but I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah, don't spill his plays, man. He don't want any of the sauce getting spilled.
All right, everybody, take notes. Here's Retro's top 5 plays. Here we go. All right, no, but I get what you're saying though. Like, some people approach it more like you're just stacking bricks, right? It's like, okay, if the record did 10, I'm just trying to do 20. If the last album did 2, I'm just trying to do 3. So I get it. I get it.
And it just goes like, I don't know, like, because I've gotten burned in every boom. I don't know about y'all, but when the waifus were booming in Japanese, I was picking up those at the higher prices. And unfortunately, that boom was not very long. So it's like you have to realize that if you think the 151 Zard is a good pickup at 600 because you think it's going to pull Moonbryon and start being $1,000+ card, you have to be okay with that going back down to 300. If the idea of it not going back down to 300, maybe you go buy the Brilliant Stars Charizard instead, or some other Charizard where there's tons of sales. It's a really cool card, but it's not being hyped up in the same way of, this 151 set that has all the marketing right now. So it's like the fact that this Charizard is booming like crazy and the other Alt-Art Charizard is stagnant, or even the Paldean Fates Charizard looks really cool and it's still at 110 when the Mew is rocketing. It's like the fact that one Charizard is booming, maybe you stay away from that. Like, just based on my experiences, maybe let that settle. Maybe you still try to trade into some and at least have some of that in your inventory or your collection. But there's so many other plays all the time that, like, when a boom is happening, that's also some of the best times to pick up stuff that you're bullish on that hasn't technically boomed yet. Like, there's just plenty of plays like that. I'm sure there's so many alt-arts right now outside of 151 that are just stupid pickups right now. Like, it's all this money, once everyone's burnt out of 151, starts trickling down into all the other stuff they want. Like, the problem is all the collectors right now, they're being told that 151 is booming and, oh, I may not be able to get my cards. So they're directing their monthly bankroll into collecting their alt art collection into 151 right now.
But
probably not the best idea for them, but that's what they're being told. That's how they're thinking. So maybe, just maybe you go and pick up something that they will need further down the line that's actually still a good price. So
like,
that's the way I am
I
trying
disagree,
to figure
bro.
out booms.
I actually disagree with you, man, and I might kick you off the podcast for what you just said.
Oh yeah, you're dumb, but carry on.
Look, let me tell you what I think. Honestly, I think, and this is not, I'm not saying you're making a mistake, but I think this is one of our fundamental things that we actually disagree on. A lot of times with you, like, for example, you just said it earlier, right? Like, because the English bubble Mew is mooning, we should buy the Japanese. Except they're two different markets. Like, I understand what you're saying, but also I a lot of times disagree with you when you compare one thing to another. Because they're similar doesn't mean they're gonna behave the same. Like, I'm not sure Urshifu V is gonna move because Moonbreon moves. I just don't think they're the same market. Like, I get it, they're both altards, but I don't think it's the same buyer, bro. I don't think the guy who's
I
buying
honestly,
that.
I
Yeah, what do you
think
think?
there's English buyers, there's Japanese buyers, but there's also a huge thing I've noticed in Pokemon is like the lowest cost buyer. Like you see it in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Mm,
Vintage Yu-Gi-Oh is constantly hurt by reprints of newer cards that look exactly the same as the
mhm,
old ones, but they're $2, not 800.
mhm,
So I see the same thing in Pokemon, and back when I got in, there was a crazy sale for a first ed Lugia and a BGS 10, like over 80K. And I was looking at PSA 9s of the Japanese at like 50, $60. And I was like, maybe I should buy this. I mean, the price discrepancy is just crazy. And then like 3 days later, those were like 150, and then they went to like 250. So I think it's technically different markets, but the people who want that art, who can't afford the gold or like the most expensive, but they still need it, they're just gonna go for the lowest cost. And it's like,
I just think it's two different strategies. I think one is like more momentum investing, where you're saying like this is mooning, this will moon in the short term, and then another one you're saying like, oh, let it settle. It's like I think you do both. I think some
oh
cards
yeah,
you're holding, and then other cards you're momentum investing, right? Like you're constantly doing both.
right. Yeah, like with the Bubble Mew, basically what I'm doing is the Japanese prices haven't moved except for in PSA 10s. The PSA 10s have gone up, I think 20, probably 25% right now, after the English rocketed. But where I'm sourcing my Japanese raw, that the prices of the Bubble Mews have not moved, and that could be because it's overprinted. There's way too many of them, but I'm gonna make sure that if there's any, like, the thing is I can still make money at the current margins, even if it's at $100. I can still do it. So it doesn't, when I see something going crazy in English, do I think that the demand for the $125 option will increase because there's people priced out of the 500, maybe 600, $700 option? Yeah, I think it's just a guess that I've seen it happen multiple times where people will just buy the cheapest. Maybe they don't like it as much. Maybe they'll eventually sell it, but it's the Bubble Mew they need for their set right now. Like, people will put a Japanese binder Mew in there just to hold the place for when they can eventually afford the English. Like, it's still demand. It's still, I'm still, and I could get cooked. It could not go anywhere, but
Now, guys, come on. Japanese sucks. Let's just admit it.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to
Just
read.
kidding.
Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you
I'm
later.
about to get killed right now. No, I do want to expound on that though. So yeah, I see what both of you are saying. I kind of had a chance to listen. So what I would say is if you're going to make plays, make it on a card that hasn't moved, but a play you would have made anyway. So like that Brilliant Star Charizard is a perfect example. Like, there's already a margin there between the raw and the 10. It's already a popular Pokemon, top hit in the set, a Charizard. And so if it's something that's already a popular Pokemon, it has been selling, it has sold in the past, and it just hasn't went through a boom yet, and it's just kind of stagnant, those are good plays, right? Like when other things are moving. But it's just like, yeah, to try to dive, I get what Ernie's saying too, like trying to dive real deep into sets or like look way outside the box. those may never pan out, but
Yeah,
definitely
it's like
like some
people
of like
like
the
what they
higher
like.
dollar alt arts or higher dollar
Yeah.
cards, higher popular Pokemon that haven't moved yet. I agree.
Yeah.
Like people are telling you what they like, you know? And I feel like sometimes I do it too, Smith, where I'm like, oh, the Magician's Force girl is 7,000, so this one has to be 1,000. It's like, no, because people don't want that one. People want the other one. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, and then also you can get burnt comparing apples to oranges, bro. Like, yeah, like I get it,
I'm
but
literally
you know.
comparing Bubble Mew to Bubble Mew. Like I honestly like I'm not understanding your argument like in this
Well, no, I guess not
case.
just not in this particular case, but I do feel like sometimes you'll compare, like you'll say, I don't know, like I guess I'm just more on the side of popularity, which is what Alex is saying. Like just kind of stick with what people already are telling you they like, rather than like, oh, I'm gonna predict. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's also dangerous. I mean, it's not super dangerous to hop into Mew right now because like the raw is still kind of way lower than the PSA 10 is right now. Like the 10 supply is getting eaten up. But I mean, at the same time, like I guess me personally, I feel really comfortable with the Bubble Mew. I've never not been able to sell one in a day. Like it's one of the cards it'll just sell in a day. Like I remember that was my main play when the Japanese set came out. Was I was buying the Bubble Mews for 40 to 50, and I think the first 10 I got back, I sold for like 250. So it's like this card's already been at 250 and it's at 100 right now. Like the argument could be completely taken away from the English, and it's like this card could be potentially really undervalued for how fast it sells. Like we saw.
So
What
does it cost raw?
I think right now I'm picking them up for like 50, but they probably sell for around 60ish on eBay.
And then it's 110.
Yeah, with recent sales around 125.
Okay, so basically you're if it doesn't move at all, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna make money. I mean, the best thing that ever happens.
No, it's
is
a good play. It's a good play.
Yeah, the best thing that ever happens is when you have cards at PSA and the market's rising while they're there. And that's kind of what you're trying to play into. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
if I'm wrong and it doesn't move with the other Bubble Mew, I'm still like, it's still a good grading play. I'm gonna make money. If I'm right, I'm gonna make exponential amounts because it's gonna move up while I'm there. So I get it. I mean, it makes sense to me.
Worst case scenario, I lose $5 after fees and shipping and everything in one day. And the play's done. Like some of these plays I've done in the past, I have to wait months for it to sell, or I just have to eventually put it to auction. So it's like, that's what I've learned too, is like demand is all that matters. And in reality, if you're going to be doing it full time, you need stuff to move and churn. So you can't dive into the niches, or you can't, you know, try to think you're right about everything. You have to follow the market.
Yeah, and one thing I would say too is like the whole like, remember the whole like just grade 10s meme? Who created like Dan? I think Catch 'em All Collectibles started that.
Yeah,
but like
probably.
When markets are up, when you're buying into a bull market like the 151 Charizard, those are the times where obviously no one can predict. You could always get a grader that's upset that day and just gives you a 9. But that's a time where you literally do not want to send anything but a 10. That's not the time you send things. You're like, I think if you get a 10, it's a little off center on the back. It's got one white nick, whatever. Do not send that card right now. But if you have a card that's literally perfect and you're like 99% sure it's going to get a 10, in my mind, it still makes sense to spend $200 for a raw Charizard, because what's the worst that happens? Like realistically, the worst that happens, it drops back down to 350. You still make money on a 10. Like you're not going to get hurt. So exactly. I would say like you can still buy cards into the hype. Just make sure you're buying cards that are 100% 10s, like or 99% 10s. Don't be trying to like get cute with it and get lucky, because if it does drop and it comes back a 9 in like 2 months, and by that time the card dropped back down to 120, well, now you're getting hurt pretty bad.
Yeah. And I think it also like just always buy the most popular too. Like, especially if you're struggling with your bankroll, or like you obviously want to be in everything that's hot and have, you want an inventory of Brilliant Stars Charis when it's not hot, just because it sells fast, great card, could go up. But you also want a bunch of 151 as well, because worst case scenario, the PSA 10 price goes down. Best case scenario, it's a $1,200 card when you get it back. So it's like if you're not playing in that realm, you're also hurting. But I've just been burnt by booms in the past by also not picking up the most popular stuff. So it's like when the alt arts went crazy, I think I bought him a champ or something for like 150 raw. It tinned, but it sold for like 200 when the prices like went back down. So it was like yeah, it made a couple bucks, but also like I probably should have been buying the Charizard or like, the other stuff. So just being really, focusing more of your money on what's going to sell fast, what's popular. Yeah, Mason's right. Yep.
That's been funny, man. I don't know. Anything else you guys wanted to hit on? I mean, we've been going a little over 2 hours now. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on while we're on here?
Nah, we could shut her down, bro. This was super fun though. Maybe we can answer a couple more questions and then shut her down.
Yeah, I mean, over on we can do a little shill of our channel. I mean, we're just trying to have a good time. Love to have you on there, Alex, eventually. Can goof off a little more, less eyes, maybe say some things that get you canceled your main channel, but we can do
do that.
there,
That's why I had you guys on. Do that here. There's no there's nothing off limits on Nostalgianomics channel. Just don't pay attention to the viewers or the chat. Just talk, man. Just talk.
Nah, but it's like you said, bro. You got to get to know each other first. I'm sure our next live will be more unhinged, but it's a process, bro. But
yeah, we're just real silly over there, like. And I mean, we made a song. I mean, we made it earlier this year, just like freestyling, but we just thought it was crazy that no one's making hobby songs, I guess, except for Jason Page.
Dude, I've thought about it a million times, like going back, like you guys like follow like mainstream YouTube back in the day, like when like all the diss tracks were getting like, the Rice Gums and all them.
Oh yeah.
I've thought about that a million times. I'm like, dude, what about bringing that to Pokemon and start making some like that type of stuff?
Mm-hmm. Spitting some bars about Pokey. Yeah.
It's just like walking in the club, just like having like a money gun, shooting Charizards out, just like.
Yeah, need a crazy budget, get them all 151 Charis.
Bro, you guys don't even collect tentacles. You guys are super not cool, dude. Stop, dude.
Yeah, this is a crazy pickup.
Is that a Wiglet?
Oh, dude. Real collector, dude. Come on, guys. What are we doing? Okay.
What even is that?
Correct. The sex toy.
Inflatable tentacle. Because you see those at Goodwill for $5. You gotta buy it.
You have to buy, dude.
Yeah.
Nah, but I guess if you guys don't want to answer any, I mean, we have been going for a while, but bro, life is good. The hobby's good. We're all blessed to be here. If you have money to spend on the hobby, you're good. Just try to enjoy it. I guess stay within your means and like don't try to compete with other people's business and shit. Also, like, I guess you brought up Dan. Like, remember Dan's an anomaly? He's one of many, many hundreds of thousands. So like a lot of times the stuff he says just doesn't apply to my little business, And it's, I guess, just try to listen to everyone. Try to listen to everyone and see what works for you. I agree with you, Alex, that like it's just live streaming it could be fun, like you really enjoy it. It could be hell for somebody else. So like it's really about finding your space, both as a collector and as a business. And I think if you can do that, you'll be happy. And then you can tap into the people that fuck with you and like go from there,
Yeah, I would say like one of the I would say smartest things I've tried to do, and like I feel like I've done a pretty good job of it, is like I talked to enough people and I heard enough of us to kind of like same thing you're saying about people who've been in the hobby a long time and how it just gets like so redundant and boring. And so I wanted to try to make sure I did enough different things. So I was like, okay, if I do some of the grading and flipping, and then I do some YouTube, and then I brought Pat breaks into it, and then I'll do some of like, the consulting type stuff on the side, and then and I tried to make like a bunch of different arms to where every single day I was spending like an hour or two doing like 5 different things. So I never really feel like I get burnt out enough. Like I'm only streaming 2 days a week. Some of these other streamers, they're like I think Old School Pokemon told me he's doing every single day. I know a lot of people do like 5 days a week. I do 2 nights a week. And maybe I add a third night in, here or there. Maybe I'll do that. But like, I never get too burnt out because it's something you like look forward to at that point instead of something that's like every single day. And so I think that's probably like the best thing I could say is like, if anyone's like feeling burnt out, maybe try to like switch it up a bit, do a couple of different things, maybe just try to like, maybe do something like you're doing, Jake, like do something outside the hobby for a while, come back to the hobby. It'll always be there. But, yeah, I mean, I think you can get burnt out on anything, literally I'm sure you get burnt out on chess sometimes, dude. Just anything you do day in and day out, man.
Yeah. What helps me with burnout is flexing on Jake with new PC grills. That really brings me back. But
I don't even set an alarm. I just have a ringtone in the morning, and it's just a picture of a e-lottery Charizard, just like looking at me in the face. Or
dude, that's the best. That's the best topic we didn't touch on. Is that's how we could end things. Is going back to that question about like doing this full time. How are you guys on your personal collection, your own stuff? Like, have you been able to successfully keep anything? Is it basically all sold? Is everything on the market? Like, how do you guys handle that?
well, he's gone. That one hit a little too close to home.
Oh, no comment.
Yeah.
Did you just let go of everything?
Yeah. Do you want to tell your story, dude?
I sold everything. I promise. I don't have a single slab. I promise, chat.
Dude, hey, I've been through it though. I've been through that. Like, I did that in 2021. Like, I literally sold everything I said I would never sell. I mean, so I get it. I get both sides of it.
Yeah, I think ever since I stopped doing full time, I wasn't collecting anything. Like even, so a little Articuno figure.
PC.
I mean, I have a Wiglet plushie. I think there's a Diglett around here somewhere. Just little things here and there. But like, yeah, I've kind of started collecting again within my means now that I have a job and that sort of thing. But like when I was going full time, it was way too stressful. And you say you were going to collect something, but then they buy it now for the price you were setting that you didn't want to sell it at on eBay. And you're like, well, I guess I'm not collecting that anymore. But I guess if everything's listed on eBay, you're not really collecting.
What's this song like? Is it relatively clean?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, because Hive Mind, but you have a crazy super chat. $19.99. Appreciate you, Hive Mind.
No.
I will oblige you. Let me go ahead. I'll share the screen real quick. I'm on your channel. You guys can direct me to the video. Hold on.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and shut her down. Everybody, thank you for being here.
All right. Which one is it?
It's the one with the two girls.
Right here.
That's the one. Let's go, baby.
I always tell you guys.
Wait, should we say our outro with this?
All right, yeah. Like everybody, what do you want to say in closing?
Yeah, just let it play. Go ahead.
I guess. Thanks for having us on. It was a lot of fun. Can't wait to have you on the channel. But yeah, let's all just have a fun time in the hobby and stop caring so much. Have a little fun. You know, buying great stuff that other people don't like, you like. Just have a good time, dude. Everybody needs to relax.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Alex, all my lottie lovers. We're gonna be all right. It's the first of many, hopefully, and enjoy this song, man. We sang it from the heart. Really came from the heart. So peace, everybody.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed having Spicy Boys on. Their link is pinned to the top of the chat. I'll also leave it in the description. I forgot to put it on there. It'll be the top of the description after the video, so you can find them there. Go check them out. Subscribe to the channel. They have conversations like this all the time. And yeah, let's go ahead and hear it.
Let's go.
Don't even trip. Somebody will buy it.
PSA, come through.
You know what I mean?
PSA, talk to me, come through.
Matter of fact, maybe I can show you better. I can tell you. Yeah, I just got my grades. I ain't tripping on nothing. I just got my grade, but I'm sipping on something. I just got my grade, but I'm finna get paid.
Give me my PSA.
And we finna get paid. I just got my grades. I ain't tripping on nothing. I just got my grades, so I'm sipping on something. About to get paid. You know we about to get them grades.
Goddamn, they're all 10s, all of my grades. 50 out of 50, look at Ernie's face.
I'm
What's
hot.
going on? No PSA, no PSA 9s, got all 10s, cause give me my grades, PSA, come through without of my grades. Give me my PSA grades.
I just
Hold on, wait. Is this music copyrighted? Do I need permission to play this? Am I gonna get demonetized?
No, you're good.
Okay.
got my grades. I ain't tripping on nothing. I just got my grade, boy, I'm sipping on something. I just got my grade, but I'm finna get paid. Yeah, we finna get paid. I just got my grades, I ain't tripping on nothing. I just got my grades, so I'm sipping on something. About to get paid. You know we about to get them grades.
About to get my little sub back, little 50 card sack. Gonna get my cards back, and they all tens. Cause the PSA come through. Looking at my cards, only about 5 seconds each, and that they come through. PSA tens, all tens. There were dents, scratches. Came back, all tens. Cause that's what I do. I win. Give me my PSA grades back, and I'm gonna list all day and all night. Cause we're gonna get rich, we're gonna get paid. Till the IRS get their late.
I just got my grades, I ain't tripping on nothing.
Give me my
I just got my grade,
grades.
but I'm sipping on
Just give me
something.
my
I just got my
grades.
grade, but I'm finna get
Just give me my grades.
We finna get paid.
Give me my
I just got my
grades.
grades, I ain't tripping
Give
on nothing.
Ernie his
I just got my grades,
grades.
so I'm sipping on
Give
something.
it hit the
About to
tens.
get
Give back the
paid.
tens. Just stack
You
up
know we
the
about to
10.
get
Give the
them
whole second
grades.
10. Cause it's his birthday. Motherfucking birthday. Gotta get our grade back from PSA. No Beckett.
That was it, guys. That is that's the first Pokey rap. I'm coming at him though. I'm gonna go complete music video. We're gonna start it. All right, guys.
Alrighty.
Appreciate you guys tuning in for the stream. See you guys back here in the next one. We are out.
Peace.